The first thing I did after being reborn was build an 18-meter tall Gundam with my bare hands. As it turned out, my daughter snuck it out while I was asleep. After recklessly crossing dozens of blocks, the Mecha finally ran out of power and fell into a ravine. Exhausted from playing, the little one simply fell asleep in the cockpit, completely unaware that the outside world was in total chaos because of her. Daylight had already broken by now. Military Chief Shen Youwu and Professor Zhang were at their wits' end. Even though they used every means at their disposal, they couldn't open the hatch. So the orders were immediately sent to the local police. While the officers on duty were out searching, they happened to run into me while I was looking for my daughter. I immediately asked the officers, "Have you seen an 18-meter tall Mecha?" Seeing this, the officer tentatively asked if I was the one who built the Mecha. Once I heard that, I knew the police must have a lead. I hurriedly asked, "Officer, did you receive a report? Has someone seen that Mecha?" Fearing they wouldn't lead the way, I quickly added, "That Mecha's life support system only lasts 6 hours. Counting from last night, it's almost at its limit. Please, you must take me there immediately." Hearing me say that, the police didn't hesitate. "Come with us." We hopped into the patrol car and sped away. Seeing how remote the road was becoming, I realized the little girl had actually gone this far. When I saw the giant Mecha lying half-tilted against the collapsed hillside, I felt like my world was ending. This was an order scheduled for delivery today. Arriving at the scene, I jumped out of the car and ran toward the Mecha, but was stopped by the soldiers cordoning off the area. Move aside, move aside. He's the creator of the Mecha. Saving the person is the priority." Lin Qinxuan, the officer with me, rushed up shouting. The commotion over here caught the attention of Shen Youwu and Zhen Yukai. Lin Qinxuan snapped a salute to Shen Youwu. Chief Zhen Yukai was the first to react. He approached excitedly. "You're the creator of the Mecha, right?" "Yes. If you have questions, please wait a moment. My daughter is still in the cockpit. The Mecha's life support system is nearly at its limit." I didn't pay him any mind at all and ran straight for the Mecha. I skillfully climbed the built-in handles on the Mecha's waist, clambered onto the chest armor, and pried open a hidden compartment. Seeing the keypad still had power, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. After entering the password, the Mecha's chest made a hissing sound, and the armor slowly opened. I peered inside and saw Lu Yaya, who had cried herself to sleep. My blood pressure spiked instantly. I had been worried sick for so long, and this little brat was actually sleeping so soundly. I really couldn't help myself. I picked her up and gave her a few swats on the butt. Just as I was about to scold her, Zhen Yikai impatiently pulled me aside. "Young man, come here, come here. Tell me quickly, what was your purpose for building this Mecha?" "Well, it's for a Sci-Fi Week event organized by our sub-district office. It's a promotional prop I made. They promised that if I built it, they'd pay me 100,000 yuan. I told him the truth. Shen Youwu was shocked too. "You're saying for such a massive 18-meter tall Mecha, they only gave you 100,000 yuan? And you just whipped it up for them?" His face was full of disbelief. "Just the weight of this Mecha must be around 20 tons, right? I recall steel frames cost over 1,000 per ton now. You wouldn't even cover your costs." Nearby, Zheng Yikai also nodded repeatedly. I scratched my head. I explained with a smile. "I run a scrapyard. If I'm collecting scrap iron, the cost is about 400 plus per ton. I can still make a profit of about 10,000. "You can actually make 10,000? Zheng Jiai exclaimed. Hearing her dismissive tone, I felt a bit annoyed. I immediately retorted, "Little sister, you've clearly never run a household. You don't know the cost of living. 10,000 yuan can do a lot of things." "Fine, 100,000 yuan is a huge sum of money to me. If I just flipped this for scrap iron, I wouldn't even get 100,000. Everyone around was dumbfounded. Zhen Yikai felt his head spinning. He pressed further. "Wait a second. I'd like to ask, why did your sub-district office ask you to build such a large-scale mecha instead of a regular metal sculpture?" Shen Youwu looked solemn. He suspected the director might be a foreign spy, trying to manipulate a genius like me. I also gritted my teeth a bit. That guy old Deng said before leaving, "It would be great if this thing could move." But does he have any idea how complex it is to make? A humanoid robot move? I'm such a professional. How could I let him find any faults? So from the control system to the internal skeleton, every bit of this mecha was meticulously designed by me. Once we got into my area of expertise, I started talking enthusiastically, but to Shen Yaowu and the others, this practically confirmed it. The other party was a spy. Shen Yaowu gave a signal with his eyes, telling his secretary to immediately take a team and detain that sub-district office director. I still have a few questions. May I ask for your insight? Zhang Yikai leaned in like a student. How did you manage to use steel and yet keep such a massive mecha down to only about 20 tons? That's simple. You know about carbon fiber, right? The steel plating used for this mecha is similar to carbon fiber. They both use a composite atomic structure. By arranging carbon and iron atoms in a carbon-12 structure, I achieved an effect similar to EPIB's foam. Thus, it balances lightweight properties with strength. A genius idea! Zen Yikai praised. He looked at the mecha again. I see it has wings too. Were you intending to make it fly? It can't fly at all. They're strictly for aesthetics. I shook my head. I see you even left thruster nozzles. It won't fly. Old man, give up on that idea. I interrupted him bluntly. This thing's shape doesn't follow aerodynamic principles. Its combat capability in the atmosphere is limited. Its applications should be in engineering construction and outer space development. If you want to use it as a weapon, it's currently impossible. Currently. So you mean it's not entirely impossible? Of course. Energy supply is the biggest issue, I explained. Relying on a battery backpack, the storage capacity is too small, and the runtime is pathetic. To ensure high mobility, you'd need to install a high-power vacuum engine. With my current level of technology, it's fundamentally impossible to make it fly. Just as I was saying that, someone was pushed in front of us. It was the man in pajamas, the completely bewildered sub-district office director Zhao Qidong. As soon as Zhao Qidong saw me, he shouted, "Little Lu, this is really not right of you. I only looked for ways to get you a job, because I saw you were struggling. You can't bite the hand that feeds you." He clearly thought I had kidnapped him. We can talk about the money. Why don't you let me go first? I was stunned. I couldn't understand why these people brought him here. Shen Youwu walked up to him with a stern face. You better honestly tell us who you are. Otherwise, I don't mind letting you suffer a bit. At this point, Shen Yaowu was ready to kill. Zhao Qidong was seen as a traitor in his eyes. With his personality, letting Zhao Qidong see tonight's moon would already be considered merciful. I'm just the director of Rongchang Street's community office. Zhao Qidong was completely dumbfounded. He noticed the military stars on Shen Yao's shoulder. He must be a leader from the military district. But he didn't think of the commission I got. My family isn't well off. The whole community knows it. He asked me to weld a robot for publicity. He just meant to lend me a hand. As for it being able to move, that was just something he said offhand. But he never expected I'd make such a huge machine. Still not telling the truth? Why did you ask Shaolu to build a big robot? As soon as Shen Youwu saw he was answering, he raised his hand. The soldiers around immediately aimed their guns at Zhao. Qidong, I'm telling you. I just thought Sci-Fi Week needed a big robot to help promote it. So I reached out to him. I heard he used to be in level 8 welder at the factory. Building a big robot would be easy for him. I really don't have any other identity. Director Zhao Qidong was almost frightened to wet himself. He hurriedly knelt down and confessed. While speaking, he kept glancing around, until the corner of his eye caught the huge mech behind him. His voice stopped abruptly. He gasped sharply, almost fainted on the spot. Beside them, Zhang Yikai seemed to notice something. He stepped forward and looked at Zhao Qidong. I think I understand now. You just wanted him to build you a robot as a publicity sculpture. Zhao Qidong quickly nodded in agreement. Zhang Yikai looked at me. Because he mentioned on his way out, it'd be even better if the robot could move. So you ended up making such a huge mech? That's right, you wouldn't understand. If you really want a robot to move, the force transmission between its joints is super complicated. Do you think it's possible? He just wanted you to design something that could turn its head. Or maybe lift its arms. Zhang Yikai was almost losing it, wanting to laugh while Zhang Jiai couldn't hold back at all, laughing out loud right there. Suddenly, I felt Those drawings I stayed up late working on weren't really worth it. So this was actually a big misunderstanding. Shen Yaowu finally got it. This whole thing happened simply because I misunderstood and ended up accidentally creating this huge beast. Zheng Yikai suddenly smiled with relief. This is a good misunderstanding. If only we could have more of these mix-ups. Without them, where would we find such young geniuses? How else would we see such cutting-edge high-tech inventions? Xiaolu, how about selling this mech to our research institute? Zheng Yikai looked at me sincerely. Can't do that. I promised Director Zhao to let him use it for Sci-Fi Week promotion. Maybe ask him about it. Even though the research institute would definitely offer better perks. A person needs to be honest. Director Zhao must be the one to decide, right? You'd take this treasure and use it just for a small sci-fi publicity week? Shen Yao and his team were all stunned. I think Xiaolu's right. It really should be used for publicity. Zheng Yikai suddenly smiled. Shen Youwu looked at the old friend, puzzled. Zheng Yikai then asked me, Xiaolu, after you set up the mech, can you lock all the other joints and only let its head move? Of course, I nodded. That should help calm things down after all the commotion. Zheng Yikai smiled slightly. Old Zheng, something this valuable. You're just going to put it on display? Isn't that too much? Shen Youwu quickly tried to persuade him. Zheng Yikai smiled and asked Shen instead. You also think that something this high-tech shouldn't be put on public display. But what if we actually show it off now? Would you still see it as some great high-tech marvel? Are you saying? Shen Youwu immediately understood what his old friend meant. He smiled and pointed at this sly old guy. Director Zhao, right? Zheng Yikai got the point across. Shen Youwu turned to discuss ownership. This mech was bought by Southern Institute 611. Any objections? No. No supporting national work. That's our duty. Zhao Qidong quickly shook his head. He realized, I'm definitely not just a junkyard owner. Gotta go sign a confidentiality agreement soon. Before this thing could destroy the world, I'll keep my mouth shut. Even if I die, I'll take it to the grave. Zheng Yikai kept smiling, but had a commanding presence, making Zhao Qidong feel breathless. Suddenly I cried out loudly, drawing everyone's attention. What's wrong, Xiaolu? Right now I'm their precious asset. I have world-shaking technology in my hands. Even if I wanted to defect, the country would have to find a way. It's almost 9 o'clock. Yaya still needs to go to kindergarten. At this point, we can't make it there in time. I looked at my wristwatch, totally conflicted. Felt like the sky was falling. Shen Yaowu thought for a moment, called out. Lin Weiming and Lin Qingshuan hurried over. Salute. Sir, you called us? Call your director and have him notify this kid's kindergarten. Tell them she'd be late. You two take her to kindergarten.
Tonight.
Remember to pick her up after school. Return her to Engineer Lu. Shen Yao's way of addressing me changed from Xiaolu to Engineer Lu, showing full respect. I could accept this arrangement. So I coaxed Lu Yaya and let Lin Qingshuan take her to kindergarten. After the two police officers left, Shen Yaowu thought for a moment, walked aside and took out his phone. Hello? This is Shen Yaowu. Connect me to the Defense Ministry. I have something urgent to report. Meanwhile, on the road, Lu Yaya kept coaxing the beautiful officer Lin Qingshuan to be my wife. After getting her safely into kindergarten, Lin Qingshuan received orders to guard the kindergarten all day today. Lin Weiming was called back to the police station by Director Qi Zhonghua. Once he got back, he froze instantly. Everyone was present. Big bags and little bags. Looked like they were all moving house. Oh Lin, hurry up and pack your own stuff. And help your daughter Lin Qingshuan pack up too. Qi Zhonghua grabbed him. What's going on? Why are you packing up? Lin Weiman was totally confused. Xi Zhonghua shot him a fierce glare. We just received a new notice from above. We're being told to relocate our station. According to the Provincial Public Security Bureau, this was a direct order from the Ministry of Public Security. We have 3 days to move to this address. Isn't this ridiculous? There are quite a lot of people in our station. Qi Zhonghua looked seriously distressed. But the order from above is, either we move, or we're all stripped of our ranks. Let me take a look. When Lin Weiman saw the destination, he was completely stunned. Why does this place feel a bit familiar to me? He squinted, trying to recall. Suddenly, it all clicked. Isn't this the old scrap yard? Chi Jianghua was a bit surprised. What's up? Is there something special about this place? Lin Wyman thought of the giant robot from earlier this morning. And the confidentiality agreement, he replied evasively. It's grown-up business. Kids shouldn't ask too many questions. Lin Wyman knew. If anyone leaked this information, the whole family could disappear without a trace. He figured out the Ministry of Public Security's arrangement. They're planning to have the entire station serve as 24-hour bodyguards for the two of us. Meanwhile, in the southern mountains, the robot finished charging. Suddenly, as student Yuan Lang shouted excitedly, Zhen Yikai was left dumbfounded. 5 minutes and 26 seconds, Xiaolu. Your battery is seriously impressive. Zhen Yikai glanced at his watch, beaming with delight. This battery tech will absolutely change the global landscape. If you'd like the technical details, I can send them to you later. I'm not holding anything back. After all, Director Zhang is loaded. There's no way he'd just take it for free. Zhen Yikai stared at the enormous Mecha before him, his eyes sparkling with admiration. Everything here, top to bottom. Can I check out the cockpit, Xiaolu? Zhen Yikai asked. Of course. The original plan was for me to pilot it and secretly head to the event site. After climbing into the panoramic sphere-like cockpit in its chest, Zhen Yikai was awestruck. What blew his mind even more, the entire pilot seat was actually suspended. That's the cockpit suspension system. Operating signals and electric currents are transmitted via photoelectric sensing to the corresponding circuits. Compared to traditional wiring, the losses are much lower. I explained. Photoelectric sensing? Aren't you worried about interference from magnetic fields and the environment? That's why. The whole cockpit is made of superconducting materials, I replied. Superconductors have broken through room temperature limits. Zhen Yikai exclaimed in amazement. I know what you're about to ask. Why I've already achieved room temperature superconductivity, but haven't built a reactor yet. Well, if I had the money, the materials, and a place, who wouldn't want to build one? Right? Zhen Yikai was deeply curious about my workspace. Since the Mecha can't operate right now anyway, can I visit your workshop?
Zhang Yikai asked sincerely.
You want to tour my workshop? Sure, I don't mind. Zhen Yikai was thrilled. He immediately called for a ride to my factory. He left the on-site duties to the students, while he himself went with a pilgrimage mindset to my scrap collection center. Yet, inside and out, the place exuded a sense of utter poverty. Seeing messy piles of scrap metals, it was hard to imagine that the groundbreaking Mecha was actually built from all this junk. Yeah, it's a bit chaotic. This way, please. I gave an awkward smile and led him to the assembly workshop. When we reached the factory floor, Zhen Yikai's eyes widened. It was nothing like outside. It was the pinnacle of what normal conditions could achieve. Among them, many machines were so advanced their principles were hard to figure out. Xiaolu, what's this? Zhen Yikai pointed at a machine and asked. That's my first-generation quantum compressor that I built myself. It's used for compressing metal ions to produce specialty metals. I use it to bundle metals and make blocks to sell. Just from the description, Zhen Yikai could tell this machine was incredibly valuable. Can't believe I use it to bundle scrap iron. Aren't you worried that bits of metal inside might damage the machine? Not really. The compression chamber is completely isolated, and it uses gravity compression combined with magnetic compression, with an external centrifuge to create high gravity conditions. Even tiny metal particles are kept in line by magnetic force, so they won't harm the machine. Plus, the machine's material is nanoscale metal and features a self-cleaning system, so oil and dirt aren't a concern. After hearing my explanation, Zhen Yikai was absolutely blown away. After thinking a bit, he said, Earlier you said you want to start your own business.
Tell me more.
My technical conversation with Zhen Yikai was endless. The deeper we exchanged ideas, the more he realized I was an inexhaustible treasure trove. He found solutions to many long-standing problems. Xiaolu, I want your opinion. At this stage, if our country wants to build advanced fighter jets, where should we focus our research? Flight control systems, engines, or exterior design? Zen Yikai posed the toughest question. Western countries have already launched 4th-gen fighters, while we're still stuck with 2nd-gen jets. If it really comes down to a conflict, we'd have to sacrifice 8 for 1, just to get a chance to fire. Coming from a digital era, I know military tech direction inside out. Sir, since you treat me as one of your own, I won't keep secrets from you. I chuckled. Honestly, only by advancing everything in parallel can we achieve a leap. I dug out a sketch I drew during my downtime in the workshop. The main fighter jet J-20 from before my travel. Looking at the blueprints, Elder Zhang felt his mind buzzing. Perfect aerodynamics, sharp curves, and highly impressive technical data instantly left him stunned. Sir, I can honestly say, this aircraft right here can definitely accomplish the mission handed down from above. I instinctively hid away the J-36 design sketch. Right now, national productivity can't keep up, so relying on a single groundbreaking fighter is unrealistic. After mastering the mech tech from the system, the breakthrough in materials solved most of the issues. The tech I have allows a mech to take off vertically. But due to limited funds and materials, I ended up making a giant movable model. Xiaolu, can you sell us this blueprint for the South Station? We're willing to pay. Zen Yika was momentarily speechless. That previous Mecha transfer cost 200 million, which was basically a friends-only bargain price. But these jet blueprints are worth even more.
He didn't get the chance to figure out how to negotiate.
I felt thunder rumbling in my stomach. Blushing, I awkwardly laughed it off. That's pretty embarrassing. I haven't eaten anything since this morning. I'm getting a bit hungry. Zen Yukai's stomach also started growling. He's even worse off than me.
He was woken up at 4:45 a.m. by Shen Youwu.
He hasn't had a drop of water either. I haven't eaten anything yet either. Let's make do and eat something at your place then, Zen Yukai said as he walked out. He saw me heading deeper inside. Asked in confusion, what's up? Is there something inconvenient about the path? Didn't you say we could grab something at home? I actually live in here. Zen Yukai frowned and followed me into the inner room. It was just a small compartment next to the workspace. It smelled musty. There was only a bed and a table. Hard to imagine. Drawings that affect the fate of the nation were created on this greasy table. Xiaolu, you really live here? Zen Yikai felt pity. Yeah, I once bought an apartment, but my wife thought the mortgage was too stressful. She left with someone else. Left just me and my daughter. I couldn't pay the loan alone. The house got repossessed. So I rented these old factory buildings with what I earned. Fixed them up bit by bit into this. I spoke calmly as if telling someone else's story. What about your job? I was an 8th-level welder at a state-owned enterprise. But after the divorce, everything got messed up. And because of bad credit, I was fired for damaging the enterprise's image. I felt a bit embarrassed. Zen Yukai furrowed his brow tightly. An 8th-level welder is a senior technician. Getting laid off so young clearly shows corruption at the grassroots level. Just as he planned to dig deeper, I got news that my daughter had been injured at kindergarten. I hung up the phone, hurriedly went outside. Sir, my daughter got hurt. She's at the hospital. You just look around. We'll talk later. Zen Yukai couldn't stop me. He quickly got the guard to drive me. The sound of the car faded away. He called his granddaughter, Zheng Jiai, told her to buy groceries and come cook. While waiting, Zen Yikai started looking through the workroom. A blueprint of a warplane that looked like a maple leaf made him fall deep in thought. No weapons bay, no exhaust nozzle, no vertical tail, but he could see. Its technical level was even higher than the J-20. He soon understood why I hadn't shown it. The country's supporting capacities can't keep up. He searched through the stack of drawings. Each one amazed him. Finally, he called the state council. When the premier's gentle voice came on, Zen Yukai reported solemnly, Premier, I have something important to report. After hanging up, he let out a long sigh of relief. Premier Lin Hao only said one thing. Make sure to support Comrade Lu Qiu. That meant that, within the law, I could act without restriction. support comrade Lu Qiu well. That meant that, within the law, I could act without restriction. Then he called the bank president. Half an hour later, a property deed with my name was delivered to him. Zhen Jia also came with groceries, quietly starting to cook. At the hospital entrance, I jumped out of the car. Lin Qingshuan looked apologetic. Mr. Lu, I'm sorry. It was my oversight. Kids got into a fight. You weren't even in the kindergarten? How could it be your fault? I tried to reassure him, but my heart suddenly tightened. In the ward, Yaya's face was covered in blood scabs, her head wrapped in gauze. Aside from the teacher, there was a well-dressed man and woman. The man had a big belly. The woman wore flashy jewelry. So you're this little girl's dad? Your daughter beat up my son.
Tell me.
How are you going to handle this? Look at my son's face. It's all red from being hit. If you don't give us satisfactory compensation today, we won't let this go. The woman drew the curtain, revealed Mao Zhuangzhuang, who was sleeping, and shouted at me fiercely. The teacher hurried to explain. It was actually Zhuangzhuang who hit first. It takes 2 hands to clap. Why did my son hit her and not anyone else? It must be his daughter's problem. My son's face is still red. He must have started it. I held back my anger and looked at teacher He. I want to understand what happened first. We didn't actually see what exactly happened. We just rushed over when we heard the shouts. Yaya was already like this. The teacher bent over apologizing. I know what really happened. Right at that moment, the principal led He Xiaoming in. Classmate He Xiaoming, tell us what you saw. The principal said in a cold voice. Yaya hit Zhuangzhuang first, but Zhuangzhuang started it. He Xiaoming was interrupted by the principal before finishing. Parent, you heard that. It's true your daughter hit first. I hope you can settle this privately. Don't let it affect the kindergarten. Clearly, the old lady was taking sides. I asked gently. He Xiaoming, little sister, can you tell uncle? What did Zhuangzhuang do first? Uncle. He Xiaoming's eyes welled up with tears. It was Zhuangzhuang who said Yaya had no mom. He said Yaya's mom abandoned her because of Yaya. Yaya couldn't hold back and hit him. After Zhuangzhuang pushed Yaya down, he kept hitting her. Yaya bled a lot. Will she die? I patted her head. She won't. Uncle won't let anything happen to Yaya. The principal's face darkened, but still twisted logic, saying, although Zhuangzhuang was wrong first, it's never right to hit someone, no matter what. Parent of Lu Yaya, you still need to give them an explanation. I ignored her, picked up the medical report and glanced at Yaya's forehead. A 5-centimeter wound. Nasal bone fracture. I looked at the Mao Zhuangzhuang family. I admit my daughter hit first. How about your son hitting my daughter? How do you settle that? That's self-defense. The woman screeched. So you're not taking any responsibility at all? I slowly unbuttoned my shirt. Your son kept hitting after pushing Yaya down. That's clearly intentional injury. It's just too much. It was your daughter's fault, originally. Why should we be responsible? What, you think you can get violent? Zhuangzhuang's mom sneered and mocked. People like you with no power or status dare to do anything. Zhuangzhuang's dad walked over and said coldly, I looked you up. You're just running a scrapyard. I'm bullying you, so what? What can you do about it? Don't forget, your daughter still has to go to kindergarten. I gritted my teeth, took off my shirt, and tossed it onto the hospital bed. Turn around and look at the 2 of them. Anything else? We'll talk about compensation later. Right now, I need to check on my daughter's condition. Or do you want me to invite you to dinner as well?
Coward.
Zhuangzhuang's mom sneered. She abandoned her son and left with her husband. Before leaving, Mao Zhuangzhuang's dad tossed out a sentence. I'll give you 3 days to think about it. If you're not willing, you'll bear the consequences. Lu Yaya opened her eyes. Tears streamed down. It's all Yaya's fault. It's because of Yaya that Mom left. My heart tightened with a wave of sadness. I crouched down and gently comforted her. That's not true.
It was Zhuangzhuang who was bad.
Yaya is the sweetest little girl. Even though I came here from another world, these memories and feelings are real. Graduated from a top university. Yet after divorce and losing credibility, became the owner of a recycling station. No money or connections in Jingcheng. I really can't afford to gamble. I asked Officer Lin Qingshuan to look after Yaya, and went to ask the doctor. The situation is more serious than I expected. There's a risk of disfigurement. She must stay in the hospital for observation. I asked the orderly to take me back to the recycling station to pack some clothes. Zhang Yikai saw I looked upset and quietly asked Xiaolu, "What happened to the child?" "Just some kids fighting." "It's nothing, sir. You can come another day. I need to stay at the hospital tonight." Zhang Yikai didn't say much more. He turned to the orderly and told him to explain and recount everything in detail. After hearing the account, old Master Zhang was furious. How dare they? It's outrageous. You are to stay by their side at all times these days. If necessary, you have permission to shoot him on sight. He then called Shen Yaowu. When Shen Yaowu heard my daughter was bullied and that I was threatened, he flew into a rage and said, "If I don't kill him." It took me so much effort to raise such a genius. If she's actually harmed by a few reckless idiots, then I shouldn't be a commander anymore. Shen Yaowu immediately coordinated both the military and police to investigate the Mao family. It took only 2 hours. The collected information showed Mao's father operated nightclubs involved in drugs and prostitution. Mao's mother caused someone paralysis and never compensated them. The whole family is guilty of every vice. Find out the insiders protecting them. Catch every one of them in one go. Shen Yaowu slapped the table. That night, the military and police forces in Jin City were fully mobilized. Over 30 officials were arrested. Early morning, the 3 Maos were at the breakfast table. They were subdued by armed police. A handgun was found on the spot. Mao Yue still tried to claim he had powerful connections. After hearing the names of those arrested, he collapsed instantly. At the hospital, Zhang Jai arrived with her gentle beauty, carrying a thermos to take care of Yaya. "Sister, can you be Yaya's mom?" Yaya's weak words left Zhang Jai at a loss. The awkwardness was broken by Zhang Yukai's arrival. He called me out to the hallway. "I had someone take care of this. The public kindergarten Yaya currently attends has students of mixed backgrounds. Let me arrange for Yaya to transfer to Blue Sky Kindergarten. Sir, this is really too much trouble for you." I looked at the admission letter directly overseen by the military district. I wanted to return it. "Your skills are critically important right now. Your and the child's safety comes first." Zhang Yikai spoke seriously. He then pulled out 2 property deeds. "They helped you redeem your old house. But my Air Force family residence is closer to the kindergarten. Let's switch houses." Looking at the family residence deed, which was much larger, I said, "Sir, this is way too different. I can't take advantage of you. A house is just for living. No difference." "I already had someone move your stuff and clean the house." Zhang Yikai wouldn't take no for an answer. He pushed the deed back to me. "Do your best. Just make what's on the blueprints real. Tonight's task is to transport the mech." Zhang Yikai took me to the southern mountains, now designated a restricted zone. Student Yuan Lang ran over holding his notebook. "Teacher, I really can't decode the mech operating system." In the mountain area, student Yuan Lang ran over with his notebook.
Teacher,
"I really can't decode the mech's operating system." I glanced at it. "The reason is simple. Your computer's processing power isn't enough. The system architecture is too outdated. It can't keep up with the mech's internal processor. That's a domestic Daxia-developed Chinese system, but it still looks too outdated to me. Xiaolu, can your system be promoted?" Zhang Yikai followed up. "It can, but current hardware can't handle it." I smiled. "Sir, the domestic chip precision is probably around 150 nanometers now. The processor in my mech calculates 60 trillion times per second. Otherwise, it wouldn't manage real-time brainwave and photoelectric transmission." Both were stunned. 150 nanometers is already the current limit. And the numbers I reported outperformed the domestic supercomputer Shenwei by nearly 20,000 times. "Quantum chips," Zhang Yikai said, trembling. "Chip precision is already under 5 nanometers, right?" I nodded. "Actually, the core processor is provided in the system package. If I really mass produce, I'd have to acquire the technology from scratch. Even if you took this to the institute now, we wouldn't be able to figure it out." Zhang Yikai sighed deeply. "All right, finish the Sci-Fi Week event first. Anyway, the technology is with you. It won't run away." I was about to go pilot the mech and mount it onto a rocket transport flatbed. Old man Zhang Yikai suddenly got an idea. He asked, "Xiaolu, can I ride with you?" Sure, but the co-pilot's seat is a bit small. I explained. When I designed the cockpit, I considered parents taking their kids for a ride and made a child's version for the co-pilot's seat. After the old man sat down, half his body was squeezed into the tiny seat. The sight was frankly hard to keep from laughing. You can start now, Zen Yikai signaled. I powered up the system. The cockpit locked in place. The 360-degree panoramic display provided a full view of everything. I powered up the system. The cockpit locked in place. The 360-degree panoramic display provided a full view of everything. Outside, people saw the mech's eyes glow blue-green, and this 18-meter giant slowly moved, standing under the night sky, towering over the earth. Then it smoothly laid down on the flatbed. The entire sequence was seamless. No sign of sluggishness from the huge robot. Zen Yikai, who witnessed it all, was awestruck. A system that even kids can operate, if installed in fighter jets, would definitely improve combat capabilities. The next day at Science Fiction Week, the kids were utterly stunned by the blue and white, twin-winged giant mech. The event organizer, the street office, experienced what crowded truly means. I didn't join the festivities. In the morning, I said goodbye to Ling Qingshuan and Zhang Jiai, who stayed overnight. I watched Lu Yaya sleeping peacefully and looked again at the blue sky kindergarten admission letter beside me, deeply moved inside. Only one day since arriving here, my life has been turned upside down. Looking at the bandage on Yaya's head, I opened the system mall and spent 500,000, exchanging internal scar healing medicine and bone fracture rapid recovery medicine. With these, she should heal much faster and won't be left with a permanent scar. Just after lunch, Ling Qingshuan came again. I didn't stand on ceremony anymore and immediately took care of Yaya's school transfer. A few days later, with me accompanying, the mech was delivered to Southern 611 Research Institute. Mission accomplished. I'm preparing for my new life. And Zen Yikai has been calling non-stop these days. He reported my ability to make 5-nanometer chips, but faced embarrassment over not being able to verify it. He lobbied several state-owned companies and departments, but none wanted to invest in this disruptive
Technology.
technology, which deeply frustrated the old man. When Zhang family members walked in, they found Grandpa sulking.
He said, analyzing Grandpa.
Actually, maybe it's better not to cooperate with them. If state-owned capital took over, would Mr. Liu be in charge or would the authorities? Once you get the budget, you're assigned tasks. Could he still freely design? Zhang Yikai signaled him to continue. What if we partnered with him instead? Like making the 4th-generation mechs, and having him help produce the materials or assemble. We could protect him and let him earn money. Exactly. Zhang Yikai's eyes lit up. If we loop in the military district, I've got an even better idea. He didn't go into details and changed the subject about the mechs deciphering. How's your team doing? Zhang Jia looked awkward. You can see for yourself. Zhang Yikai arrived at the institute. At a newly built, dust-free mech hangar, all the researchers were gathered around the mech. So, any results yet? Zhang Yikai called over Professor Yuan Lang. We're at a loss. An Lang looked visibly distressed. They tried to start with the materials and coatings. Even though the mech can be disassembled, the removed armor can't even be cut with a 5,000-degree laser. There isn't even a scorch mark. The coating is even crazier. It perfectly absorbs waves. It doesn't show up on radar at all. As for those flexible joints, and the room temperature superconducting photoelectric sensors, they make these top researchers feel like freshmen straight out of college. Zhang Yikai wasn't surprised, since it's using a quantum processor. This tech is at least decades ahead of its time. He had no choice but to contact me. He asked me to visit South Institute when I had time. This technology is at least decades ahead of its time. He had no choice but to contact me. He asked me to visit South Institute when I had time. Meanwhile, after Yaya and I moved into the Air Force family compound, it felt like a huge weight was finally lifted off my shoulders. I got a call from Zhang Yikai over the weekend. I thought about it for a moment and decided to trouble Lin Qingsu for help again. He's been visiting Yaya at the hospital every day lately, so we've gotten pretty close. But just as I started telling him our address over the phone, someone knocked on the door. I opened the door. And there was Lin Qingxuan standing right at the doorway, with our door not even closed yet. He pulled the corners of his mouth and said a little awkwardly, "What a coincidence. I never expected Lin Qingxuan to actually live right next door." "You live here too?" I asked, surprised. "My brother is in the Air Force, so my family was eligible to buy an apartment here. So we did." Lin Qingxuan was also surprised by such a coincidence. I wanted to say a few more polite words, but thinking about always having to bother others with my kid, I couldn't help but feel a little bit guilty. Yaya, though, was extremely sensible. "Daddy, go do your work. I'll be fine as long as Aunt Kingquin is with me." "Yaya, do you want to come play at Aunt Kingquin's place?" After a few days, Lin Qingquan was already enjoying being called that. Yaya ran over and hugged Lin Qingquan's leg tightly. She gave me a wink. "Daddy, why are you still here?" "I'm going to hang out with Aunt Kingquin." Seeing this little girl so eager for me to leave, I felt a bit jealous. Does Yaya not want Daddy anymore now that she has Aunt Kingquin? Daddy is a boy, so he should go out and work hard. If you stick around with Yaya all the time, you'll never amount to much. Yaya puffed up her cheeks, which made Lin Qingxuan burst out laughing. Okay, Daddy will go work hard. You need to listen to Aunt Qingxuan." I looked at Lin Qingxuan helplessly. "Sorry to trouble you." "Officer Lin, it's no trouble. I just care about this kid." Lin Qingxuan pinched Yaya's cheeks with a bright smile. After I left, Lin Qingxuan told Yaya sincerely, "Daddy isn't weak for staying home. He does it because he loves you." Yaya nodded, sort of understanding. I took the bus all the way to South Institute. Zhen Yikai was already waiting outside. He took me straight to the office. "Lu, you really gave us at South Institute one heck of a problem." I just smiled. The old man is into mechs. "But it's way beyond us. Did you already predict there'd be issues? And we're just waiting for me to contact you?" Zhen Yikai burst out laughing. Then he got serious. "Your mech's technology is way too advanced. Beyond what's possible these days. We just can't figure out how it works. So we can only let it go." I felt a little uneasy. After all, most of that core tech was provided in the system. But business is business, right? Besides, didn't I give you a blueprint? That 200 million should be enough. You sold that blueprint for only 200 million. Zhen Yikai was quite shocked. The complete blueprint is worth way more than 200 million. It's all for our country anyway. So a little more or less doesn't matter. I chuckled sheepishly. Actually, I have my own plans too. If I can get Elder Zhang's support, it'd make running a business way easier. Zhen Yikai took a deep breath and said seriously, "Lu, you mentioned before you wanted to start your own company. I have an idea. How about you cooperate with the Southwest Military District and our institute and become one of our suppliers? The district will back you up. What do you think?" "That's fantastic." One agreed immediately, with the military district backing me. Even the boldest outlaws wouldn't dare mess around. Once the contract was signed, I officially became a partner of South Institute. As for that mech, it got sent back to the junkyard. But by now, the junkyard was already closed for good. South Institute sent staff directly and transformed the warehouse into a dust-free hangar. The scrapyard isn't in operation anymore. At this point, the scrapyard has completely shut down. The South Division sent people directly. They converted the warehouse into a dust-free mech hangar. The military district also started planning. They reclaimed surrounding land to lease to me for factory use. Looking at the mechs in the hangar, I couldn't help but feel emotional. After circling around, I ended up back here. Just right, I can keep perfecting it to truly make it a weapon of war. Right at that moment, I received a phone call. "Long time no see, old Lu. What have you been up to lately?" The voice's owner flashed in my mind. It was my college roommate, Ki Heng. "Old Ki, what made you think to call me?" "I'm on a business trip in Jin City. Wanted to get everyone together." Ki Heng sounded a little nervous on the phone. "Can we bring family tomorrow night?" I know he's worried about how I'm doing after the divorce, so I replied generously. "I'm bringing my daughter. I don't feel comfortable leaving her home alone. I just can't relax if she's alone at home." "Alright, just dress low-key tomorrow. Don't steal my spotlight," Ki Heng begged pitifully. "Fine, I'll wear that classic college outfit. Happy?" I agreed with a laugh. "Daddy, are you going out for barbecue tomorrow?" Yaya suddenly jumped on my back. "Yes, Uncle Ki is treating us. Yaya, wanna come along? I gave her a kiss on the cheek. Yay! On the way home, Yaya knocked on Lin Qingshuan's door. Auntie Qingshuan, I'm going out for barbecue with Dad tomorrow. You don't have to wait for me. These days, Lin Qingshuan and Yaya have become close like mother and daughter. I heard tomorrow is the class reunion. Lin Qingshuan hesitated a little, but Yaya hugged her leg tightly. Auntie Qingshuan, can you come with us? All right, Lin Qingshuan blushed and agreed. The next evening, Lin Qingshuan came to pick us up in a borrowed Jetta. Once in the car, I realized that Lin Qingshuan and I had both gone for a school look. I was wearing my old college outfit, while she was in a white shirt and a knit vest. Wow! Yaya had a starstruck look on her face. Lin Qingshuan and I exchanged an awkward glance. This is embarrassing. Even our outfits match. When we arrived at the hotel, Ki-hang came up and gave me a bear hug. Then he pulled out 200 yuan and handed it to Yaya as New Year money. When he saw Lin Qingshuan, he stared in surprise. You jerk, aren't you going to introduce Lin Qingshuan? Officer Lin, my neighbor who's been helping me watch my kid for a while, brought her along for a free meal. You lucky dog, you seem to be eating better and better, huh? Ki-hang muttered between his teeth. Your ex-wife was, at most, a 6 out of 10. But this one is a 9. After we sat down, old classmates started joking. Ki-hang suddenly whispered in my ear, Old Lu. Bro, let me apologize first. I contacted the Yushi, hoping to set you two up. But under these circumstances, try not to start a fight later. The name the Yushi brought back old memories. Just as we were about to start dinner, the Yushi walked in the door, dressed in business attire. She looked sharp and beautiful. Long time no see, Xiaoqiu. She froze when she saw me. Long time no see. I felt a little embarrassed. We said we'd go to grad school together. But I went home and got married halfway. Lin Qingshuan didn't react as everyone expected. Instead, she sat with Yaya, happily just observing. The Yushi saw Lin Qingshuan and Yaya, and her eyes dimmed for a moment. Just then, our class president Zhang Yuan walked in, making a grand entrance. Sorry everyone, there was a traffic jam on the way, so I'm late. I'll pay for this meal. He had a fake smile on his face. What a show-off, Ki-hang muttered under his breath. Zhang Yuan and I never got along back then. After Lu Xiaoqiu left to get married, he only then got the guaranteed grad school spot. Now he's full of confidence.
He only got the guaranteed grad school spot after I left.
Now he's riding high. I know this uncle. Yaya pointed at Zhang Yuan and shouted. I just saw him sitting in his car. When Mom parked, he was just sitting there. I hurriedly covered my daughter's mouth. Zhang Yuan didn't even bother to pretend. He stayed calm. Obviously, he was late on purpose to show off. But then a kid blew his cover. Zhang Yuan wanted to find a hole to crawl in. He glared at me with a dark expression. Xiaoqiu, I heard from classmates. You run a scrapyard now. How much do you make a month? Not that much, honestly. I smiled calmly. But I don't steal or rob. And I can support my kid. That's enough for me. Lin Qingshuan nodded in agreement at my words. But the Yushi noticed the roughness on my hands and asked with concern, Xiaoqiu, want to try working at my family's factory? We have a steel plant at the North Gate. Business isn't great, and we're short-staffed. I'm very interested in the steel business. This era is especially tough for factory workers. Though the family's business must be under pressure. This is a real opportunity for me. After the reunion ended, Zhang Yuan left without paying. Ki-hang ended up footing the bill. Before I left, I warned Ki-hang, old Ki. State-owned enterprises are a deep pool. Don't take money you shouldn't. Got it, understood. Thanks, bro. After Zhang Yuan got home, he grew angrier and angrier. In his eyes, I'm just a junkman. So why do pretty women flock around me? He tracked down the address of the scrapyard. In the middle of the night, he brought over 20 thugs to sneak in over the wall, planning to cause a scene. But just as they entered the warehouse,
Buzz.
The mech started up. 2 green beams lit up in the darkness. Intruders detected. No biological info found. Engaging personnel elimination mode. Activating the Vulcan cannon in the mech's head. Bullets flew everywhere. Zhang Yuan felt sharp pain all over, and then blacked out. Activating the Vulcan cannon in the mech's head. Bullets flew everywhere. Zhang Yuan felt sharp pain all over, and then blacked out. Suddenly, the hangar lights came on. Dozens of heavily armed soldiers rushed out, guns pointed at Zhang Yuan and his men lying on the ground. TSK, I just wanted to see how good Dr. Lu's sky-grade security really was. Can't believe it's actually this impressive. A group of burly men in military uniforms walked up to these unconscious fools, all of them grinning. The speaker was the head of security at the scrapyard, Captain Kong Yu from the Southwest Special Operations Team. Actually, before Zhang Yuan and his gang broke in,
They
had already noticed. The team was about to take them down immediately, but Kong Yu stopped them, because earlier that day I was bored, and told him I'd upgraded the mech's radar. It can now identify friend or foe by biological info, and I installed a Vulcan cannon with rubber bullets in the mech's head. Kong Yu didn't believe me at the time, thought I was just bragging. But now looking at all the bruised and battered guys on the ground, he's completely convinced now. Captain, what should we do with these people? A team member asked if we should just toss them outside first. Kong Yu smiled again. But didn't the leaders say anyone who dared enter the yard should be detained right away? Are you stupid? Kong Yu put his arm around his comrade's neck. Sneaking in here in the middle of the night. They're either thieves or looking for revenge. What's the point of catching just a few? The leaders said we have to root out all the evil. We have to make them take us over there. When Zhang Yuan and the others woke up, it was already the next morning. They couldn't remember what happened last night. They just felt bruised all over and totally disheveled. They could only go to the hospital first. They didn't notice. A jeep was quietly following them. Ouch, Mom, be gentle. Back at the villa, Zhang Yuan's mom tended his wounds with concern. Zhang Fu looked displeased. Where did you go messing around last night again? Coming home covered in injuries. Yesterday was a class reunion. He's always had issues with me. That guy embarrassed me. I wanted to teach him a lesson, so I sent people to give him trouble. Zhang Yuan said aggrievedly. Sent people to give him trouble. Zhang Yuan said aggrievedly. Who had the guts to do that? Zhang Fu didn't care about the truth, only whether the Zhang family lost face. It was that out-of-towner, who always outdid me in college. No background here in Jingcheng. Good, make sure it's clean. Don't leave any evidence. But just as he finished speaking,
Dan.
A few figures broke in through the window, pointing their guns at the Zhang family of 3. Who are you people? Looking at the dark muzzles, Zhang Yuan cried out in shock. Kong Yu burst in with the police, smiling. I'm the captain of a special ops team from Southwest region. Your whole family is being arrested for stealing national secrets. Caught stealing national secrets. What does that mean? Zhang Yuan was stunned. Did you go to the recycling station on Rongcheng Street last night? That's under the Southwest Military Region's jurisdiction. There are top national secrets inside. How is that possible? Isn't that just a recycling station? Take them. Kong Yu couldn't be bothered to talk anymore. Zhang Fu slapped Zhang Yuan across the face. You idiot! What kind of trouble did you get us into? Although the Zhang family has connections in the Jingcheng government, now they've alerted the military. Stealing national secrets means facing a military tribunal. I didn't. I just wanted to break in and wreck some stuff to teach him a lesson. Zhang Yuan tried to explain. Intent to destroy national property. That's an even bigger crime. Take them away. The next morning, I rode the bus for over 3 hours and arrived at the family's steel mill at North Gate, just in time for lunch. Let's eat together. The Yushi led me into the factory. The mood across the yard was gloomy. Many people had their luggage with them. It was the time for layoffs. The layoffs meant many couldn't live in the factory housing anymore. Yushi, where are you going? The Yushi's father, the Yun, stopped him. Dad, my college classmate is visiting.
He's top-notch in his field.
I want him to stay and help us out, the Yushi said honestly.
He looked at his dad.
My college classmate is visiting. He's top-notch in his specialty. I want him to stay and help us out, the Yushi said honestly. But the Yun scolded. Nonsense. We're laying people off and can't even manage that. Who still has the energy to recruit? The Yushi was put on the spot. I smiled to diffuse the tension. Uncle, it's a misunderstanding. I'm just here to visit. I have no intention of job hunting. Actually, my real aim is to acquire this steel mill. I promised Zan Yitai. That starting a business needs a heavy industry base. I need time to get an edge with the new technology at the turn of the century. State-owned steel mills are big and complicated, not suitable for bold reforms. And the only private steel mill in Jingcheng is the family's. So what are you here for? The Yun sneered. I leaned in and said, Uncle, I bet you're having a tough time with the layoff quota lately. The Yun gave me a surprised look. Then he told the Yushi, Xiao Yu, go get 2 meals. Come see me in my office. We went to the office. I got straight to the point. Uncle, I have a proposal. I'm willing to pay money to buy a stake in the Shenyi steel mill. I want the biggest share. Become the new boss. The Yun looked displeased. Young man, don't joke around. Do you know how much this plant is worth? Uncle, I'm not an amateur. Your 2 blast furnaces are outdated small models. All the equipment combined is worth maybe 10 million. I can easily afford to buy it. The Yun fell silent. Shenyi Steel's equipment is outdated. Profits are all used for benefits. And if it doesn't get reformed, sooner or later it's doomed. But he couldn't bear to lay off the workers. Uncle, I can offer you 100 million. But I'll only take 51% of the shares. You'll still be the factory director, but I'll make the major decisions. If you agree, I'll buy this steel mill. Then I'll buy this steel mill. You will still be the factory director, but the overall direction needs to be decided by me. If you agree, I'll buy the steel plant. 100 million shocked the Yun. That was an astronomical figure back then. All of this 100 million goes to you. You can use it to settle the workers or keep it for yourself. I'll provide additional funds for equipment upgrades. But I have one condition. Only keep workers with good skills and character. Let go of everyone else. I stated seriously. You'll understand why in a few days. Just then, the Yushi came back from getting food.
He found his father had swept away all his worries.
Full of energy. After finding out that I planned to buy the steel plant,
He became anxious. Where did you get so much money?
you still need to raise kids. I patted his hand. I had some deals with government units before. I'm not short on money. Yushi, do you want to help me out? The Yushi had extraordinary talent in management. Just the kind of person I needed. His cheeks turned bright red. A bit shy. The Yun noticed something. He said readily, Go if you want to. Anyway, I'm far from retirement. The agreement was signed. I became the chairman of Shenyi Steel Factory and renamed it to Chiron Steel Factory. 3 days later, the construction crew I'd arranged arrived at the factory. The workers were given 2 months of paid leave. This construction crew worked extremely efficiently. Orders were strictly followed. Outdated equipment was dismantled and sold off. The retained equipment was transported overnight to the new district in Southern City. When the Yun saw the plaque at the new factory entrance, labeling it a Southwest Military Region Cooperative Unit, he was utterly stunned. Shalu, how's this place? I got the military region to get you a car. The Yun had just entered my office. When he heard a powerful voice, he noticed the insignia on the elder's shoulder and gasped. I introduced the two, then got straight to business. Uncle Shen, Chiron Steel Factory will switch to electric furnace steelmaking soon, mainly focusing on private operations. Besides that, I'm planning to build a metal printing workshop. What's it for? Shen Youwu asked. A metal printing workshop. What's it for? Shen Youwu asked. Do you remember that Mech's special steel armor? It can only be manufactured via metal printing, I explained. Then changed the topic. But regarding this equipment, Uncle Shen, could you provide some funding? I'll give you a big surprise at year end. Shen Yao's eyes lit up. Is it new equipment? I nodded. Please allocate 200 million from the army budget, and I'll give you design plans for new equipment at year end. Shen Yaowu, being from the army, was troubled by lack of new equipment. He immediately decided, I'll take charge of this. With funding settled, I followed up Uncle Shen about the private workshop. I want to make things difficult for the Americans. I'm well versed in history. At this point, Yugoslavia is being bombed by NATO. The embassy tragedy is about to happen. I can't let that tragedy repeat. How do you plan to bother them? Shen Yaowu was interested. Exporting gas cylinders and fertilizer, slightly modified, with tail fins attached and launched. Focus is on affordability and firepower coverage. Shen Yaowu realized Good kid? Turning civilian goods into military ones, huh? This needs approval from higher ups. I spent $1 million in system funds and exchanged it for blueprints of large blast furnaces. A month later, the new factory was completed. 5,000 cubic meter blast furnaces stood tall. I used the 200 million allocated by Shen Youwu to finish hiring, training, and procurement. Also spent another 200 million from the blueprint sales to acquire fertilizer plants and semiconductor companies. Funds ran out. I urgently needed a big order, but Shen Youwu called me, Shaolu. Yugoslavia doesn't want to import our gas cylinders and fertilizer. My heart sank. Yugoslavia desperately needs weapons, so the only reason to refuse is they haven't realized the strategic value of gas cylinders. Official channels can't say it directly. They're afraid of being monitored. Just as I was overwhelmed, Ki Hang called me. Ki Hang called again. Old Lu. A buddy is on business trip in Yugoslavia. A light bulb went off for me. I asked him to pitch gas cylinders and steel pipes to President Milosevic and discreetly hint at their potential. I also reminded him to be cautious about surveillance. That night, at the dinner, Ki Hang used body language to hint at Milosevic about the special uses of gas cylinders and warned him to beware of being overheard. Milosevic's eyes grew brighter as he listened.
He realized Dacia was making a move behind the scenes.
Should he trust Dacia? That night, Milosevic and Ki Hang talked for a long time. It was already daytime on Dacia's side. I got a call from Ki Hang. Bro, it's done. Ki Hang slapped the contract over the phone. Just like you said. Each cylinder for $25. We'll purchase 10,000 first. Delivery in March. If it works well, follow-up orders will increase by 100 times, plus 100,000 tons of fertilizer. Nitric acid at $300 a ton, with shipping included. Also for March delivery. We'll add more if results are good. Thanks, old Ki. I laughed. Calculating it, this deal could net me $97 million. That's more than enough for my next move. According to the history from my last life, NATO attacked Yugoslavia at the end of March this year. Delivery in early March shouldn't be hard. What's tricky is shipping. Sea transport takes too long. The only option is rail, but the freight will be 30% higher. I gritted my teeth and decided to use railway shipping. If this batch of goods can make a striking first impression in the early days of war, it'll intimidate NATO. Hopefully that'll slow down the conflict and buy me time. My real goal is to turn the Kosovo War into the future Russia-Ukraine conflict and draw all of NATO and America's attention there. But railway transport is prone to theft. I'll have to ask Shen Youwu for help. Shen Youwu was shocked when he heard I'd secured the order.
He was completely taken aback.
After I laid out my whole plan, he was so astonished, he couldn't speak. The order left him utterly stunned. After I presented my complete plan, he was even more speechless. Sir, right now we're most short on time. As long as we have enough time, we won't have to please anyone. We can stand tall and be ourselves. I replied firmly. I'll figure this out. I promised to deliver by mid-March. Shen Youwu knew how critical this was. He reported directly to the Central Military Commission. Initially, the commission didn't believe it. Yugoslavia's crisis is a Western purge of the socialist bloc. So many people can't solve it. How could someone with unclear origins fix it? But after hearing my plan, everyone fell silent. The plan actually seemed doable. Shen Youwu even brought in Zheng Yukai to ensure my new fighter jet could become reality. The only thing lacking was time. If Yugoslavia can withstand the initial pressure, Dacia can buy itself 1 or 2 years of breathing room. Once the new equipment is in place, Blue Star will hear the voice of Dacia. Director No. Zero approved it immediately. All of Dacia got moving because of this. On Chinese New Year's Eve, I originally planned to have a simple meal at home with Yaya. But Lin Qinshuan knocked on the door. Somewhat embarrassed, he invited us to celebrate at his home. Is that really okay? I hesitated a bit. Lin Qinshuan's mother, Mrs. Zhao Ye, pulled her over. She smiled warmly at me and said, Shaolu, you and Yaya are just at home. It's so lonely. Come join us at Auntie's house. It'll be much livelier. Just go home and sleep after New Year's dinner. Anyway, we live right next door. It was hard to refuse their kindness. So Yaya and I went to the Lin family. Lin Wyman was surprisingly easygoing. He held Yaya in his arms, making her giggle non-stop. Everyone was having a great time. It really felt like family. We were just about to stay up for New Year. A sharp sound. The door opened and a tall, burly man rushed in. He opened his arms wide. Dad, Mom, Sis, I'm home. When he saw me and Yaya in my arms, he was confused. How many years have I been gone? My little sister got married? When he saw me and Yaya in my arms, he was confused. How many years have I been gone? My little sister got married? And you, who are you? Why are you in my house? He looked pretty unhappy. This is Xiaolu and Yaya from next door. King Xuan accepted Yaya as his goddaughter. Now, we're Yaya's grandparents. Yaya quickly explained. The man let out a sigh of relief. He shook my hand. Nice to meet you. Where does Lin Zhendong work? I recognized him from the files at the southern base.
He's a major test pilot in the Southwest Air Force.
And one of the G-20 backup test pilots. My job is temporarily confidential, but we'll meet again very soon. I smiled and took my leave, and took the drowsy Yaya home. After I left, Lin Qinshuan complained that his brother scared me off. Lin Zhendong only then realized someone was fake. After the New Year's holiday, Lin Yundong met me again. He was completely stunned to see. I was chatting and laughing with his boss. Xiaolu, you're so fast. The New Year's break just ended, and the new aircraft is already rolling out. Totally caught off guard. General Long Boan, commander of the Southwest Air Force. He smiled and said, actually, I just went back to work 2 days ago. The plane only started being produced yesterday. I explained. Long Boan and Zhang Yikai were both shocked. That fast? Can you guarantee the quality? I kept them guessing. Having you two come today is not just for the test flight, but also to tour our 3 aircraft production lines. The hangar doors slowly opened. 3 G20s appeared in front of us. G20 adopts a compressed aerodynamic layout, diamond-shaped nose, all moving twin vertical tails, DSR supersonic twin air intakes. These 3 models are G20C, G20S, and G20G respectively. I introduced them confidently. CG20S and G20G. I introduced them confidently. They use carbon steel titanium alloys. Empty weight is just 6 tons. Maximum takeoff weight is 56 tons. Everyone was shocked. Empty weight of only 6 tons. Yet it'll take off with 56 tons. Equipped with an independently developed cycle engine. Single engine thrust of 28 tons. Cruises at Mach 4.
Top speed Mach 6.
Electric cycle engine. 2nd generation. Currently 1 unit. Their eyes sparkled with excitement. Across the ocean, they just announced a 5th generation fighter. And the rollout of G20 means the balance of offense and defense has changed. I continued my introduction. G20C has an independent power system. G20G is an ultralight, highly maneuverable fighter. G20S is twin-seat. It's responsible for controlling unmanned wingmen, working together in combat. Lin Zhendong and Wang Hongwei boarded the aircraft. Lin Zhendong got into the G20G. Seeing the runway is only 400 meters, he felt a bit uneasy. He floored the throttle, pulled the control stick. A strong sense of acceleration hit him. The plane shot into the sky like a rocket. What's the shortest takeoff distance? Zhang Yikai asked, shivering. The test result is 240 meters. Extreme limit should be 200 meters. Everyone gasped. Short takeoff has huge strategic significance. Lin Zhendong pushed the throttle to max. Distinct Mach rings shot from the tail. Instantly accelerated to Mach 6. General Long Bohan had tears streaming down his cheeks. All 3 planes ran out of fuel and landed smoothly. Long Bohan made a phone call. This is Long Bohan. Was there anything unusual in the Western Battle Zone airspace today? When he learned there was no anomaly, Long Bohan was overjoyed. That means all 3 aircraft are perfectly stealthy. Xiaolu, how much does this plane sell for? Oh Lu, how much are you selling this plane for? Long Boan couldn't wait to ask. I gave them a tour of the fully unmanned Pulse production line. Then, back in the office, I gave them the price. The top trim is 400 million per plane. Bulk purchases get a 20% discount. If you need to lower the cost, there's also a stripped-down version. Switch to carbon fiber and titanium alloy. Speed is cut in half. Around 300 million. Long Boan hesitated for a moment, then decided to just go all in. Right as he was about to make the call, I took out a few more blueprints. This is the G35, also a 5th generation upgrade, but its speed is the same. This G36 is the upgraded version, which counts as a 6th generation jet. Suborbital space. Combat limit, Mach 16. A 6th gen jet. Long Boan and Zheng Yukai were stunned. Long Boan, shivering, asked excitedly how much and how long it would take to build. 15 billion, 5 years at most. Long Boan fell silent. The Southwest Military District can't come up with that much money.
He sighed. Let's talk about the G20 and G35 first.
I saw this coming. My real goal is getting orders anyway. Use the profits from the orders to trade for electronics and semiconductor technology. That's the next step for me. Since there's already the G20, why design the just slightly weaker G35? Long Boan was confused. Because they're for different purposes. The G20 is a heavy fighter jet, while the G35 is medium class. Or you could call it a carrier-based fighter. Aircraft carrier. Long Boan's hair stood on end. Do you have blueprints? I do, but the domestic industry can't manufacture it yet. Long Boan was thrilled. The carrier's almost ready to launch. 5 will be fitted for the Grand Xia. That'll let us throw the label of backward right across the ocean. 5 will be fitted for the Grand Xia. That'll let us throw the label of backward right across the ocean. He gritted his teeth and went for it. 2 of each top spec model. That's 6 in total. We'll buy more after the military budget comes through. I did some quick math and realized this order would net 1.2 billion. I agreed right away. Once the military district's payment arrived, the Yushi called to ask about this 1.4 billion transfer. When the money actually hit the account, I'd have to spend 1 billion on R&D. I opened up the system and purchased 5 nanometer photolithography tech. A flood of knowledge poured right into my mind. Long Boan took off with 3 prototype jets. After several rounds of extreme testing, the G20 showed off insane endurance and performance. Fully loaded, it has a 4,500 kilometers combat radius. Top speed Mach 6.2. Large internal missile bay plus hardpoints. Can carry up to 24 missiles. This is truly an air superiority boss. Long Boan reported the testing results to the Central Military Commission, setting off a huge storm. Experts in the capital saw the numbers, and their first reaction was doubt. Fully loaded, Mach 62. The F-22 barely hits Mach 2.25. Even satellites from Nansuo don't go that far. Chairman No. Zero finished the report, noticed my name, and smiled.
He pushed back against all objections.
Since seeing is believing, let's have a joint exercise across all 5 commands. Let North Sore's new fighter go head-to-head with the Western Theater's new jet. Chairman Zero's message was obvious. Whoever wins becomes the main domestic fighter. Long Boan got the news and felt confident. Sharing a generation with the G20, no other jet can even compare. My dear Uncle Shen, please, you have to help me out. If you don't help me, this project's sunk. It's done for. I was on the phone with Shen Youwu early in the morning, doing everything to persuade him. The reason's simple. I've hit a bottleneck in development. Early in the morning, Yu Daqiang, the director of Chiron Chemical, stormed into my office and slapped a chemical formula on my desk. He said he couldn't do it and wanted to quit.
Chiron Chemical.
Used to be a struggling private fertilizer company, but after I invested and bought it, Yu Daqiang stayed on. The director sent him the formula yesterday, asking him to develop a new high explosive, but I have no chemistry background, so I had no clue that this stuff requires an explosives license, otherwise it's a huge crime. Yu Daqiang's got a lot going for him, except his temper. If he weren't highly competent and well-liked, I'd have replaced him long ago. But right now, getting the manufacturing license is urgent. Otherwise, we can't make the deadline. For delivery, I had to ask Shen Youwu for help. He turned me down flat. He said he could handle the paperwork. But before it's approved, I must absolutely not cross any red lines. Left with no choice, I told Uncle Shen. The equipment's already in testing. But without matching explosives, we can't get accurate data. I came up with an idea. Do we have any munitions plants in our southwest region? I'll sell them the recipe. Let them handle production, and I'll just do the processing and validation. That solves the problem, right? Shen Yao's eyes lit up. He immediately reached out to a munitions factory, arranged to meet the next day. The next day, Yu Deqiang and I went to a tea house in Jingcheng. Shen Yaowu was sitting nearby in his uniform, but the seat across from us was empty. Uncle Shen, when are they getting here? I've got a ton of things going on right now. Gotta push to build those new planes. And keep an eye on the semiconductor line. The only thing that's worry-free are the gas bottles and fertilizer for export to the Southern Union. At the current pace, we'll finish by early March. The gas bottles and fertilizer for export to the Southern Union. At the current pace, we'll finish by early March. Shen Youwu checked his watch, feeling frustrated. He set the meeting time, but the other party was still a no-show. We waited another 10 minutes, but they still hadn't come, so we decided to just leave. I was a little annoyed. Felt like they didn't take us seriously at all, and were totally disrespecting Shen Youwu. Sorry, Zhao Lu. Even I didn't expect old Gong to be so flaky. Go ahead and get back to work first. Shen Youwu smiled awkwardly. Half an hour later, a middle-aged man in a suit finally strolled in. Hey, old Shen. Sorry about that. For keeping you waiting, but he's got things to do, and has already left. Shen Youwu looked really annoyed.
He left? What kind of business attitude is that?
I'm at least a department head, and you're a famous entrepreneur? Usually, you can't even get a meeting with me. So what's wrong with waiting a bit? Gong Shenfan didn't feel sorry at all.
Enough.
Shen Youwu slammed the table. Stop bullshitting. Someone waits for you for 30 minutes and you can't make it? And you couldn't say anything in advance? People work with you because of me. If I were just an ordinary boss, Shen Youwu wouldn't be this mad. But I'm the guy building new mechs and fighter jets by hand. They're accommodating you. And you think your military factory's so amazing. Shen Youwu snapped. They've developed their own high explosive. But since they don't have a license, they had to hire you to manufacture it. Otherwise, you wouldn't even get a chance. High explosive. Gong Xinfan sneered. Our factory has been at it for decades without a breakthrough. And some amateur actually pulls it off? That's ridiculous. I can't even explain it to you. If you don't want to do it, plenty of others will. Shen Youwu stormed out in anger. Xiaolu, this is my granddaughter. Shen Xingju failed to cooperate with the arsenal. Shen Youwu, worried something might go wrong, went straight to his granddaughter. Shen Xingju works at the Chemical Research Institute under the military district, with a rank of major, smart and capable. I urgently need this batch of explosives to test new equipment data. Here's the formula. Please take a look. Military rank, smart and capable. I urgently need this batch of explosives to test new equipment data. Here's the formula. Please take a look. I handed it over. Shen Xingju glanced at it. Her eyes lit up. Are you planning to sell this formula? I'm more inclined to commission its manufacturing. I smiled and said this thing has too much strategic value. Our institute might not be able to handle it. Shen Xingju whispered. Interesting idea. Xiaozhu, this formula is very expensive. Shen Youwu hesitated. Grandpa, it's not about the cost. If all shells nationwide switched to this explosive, firepower coverage would increase by at least 30%. Shen Yao's eyes went wide. We'll take the job, but output is limited. Before month's end, we can only deliver 1 to 200 rounds. Shen Xingju handed the formula back to me. No problem, we're only using them to verify new equipment. What about the funding? Shen Xingju kept it professional. 1,000 yuan per grenade. How much? 1,000 per round. Shen Youwu exclaimed. An ordinary rifle grenade is only 500, right? Raw materials are hard to source, and the design is different. It needs time to be tested. That's already the friends and family price. Shen Xingju explained. Who can afford that? Shen Yao's enthusiasm was more than half gone. I smiled to smooth things over. Don't worry, sir. Our team has already overcome the challenge of sourcing raw materials. If we produce it ourselves, we can get costs down to 500 yuan per kilo, maybe even lower. 1 kilo can make 50 to 60 rounds. So the cost per round would be just 5 to 10 yuan. Shen Xingju's eyes widened. You can synthesize raw materials on your own. I nodded. Shen Youwu suddenly understood. and praised us repeatedly. Good, good, good. Let's go with this, Shalu. But don't set your selling price too low. We can't have you losing money. At the end of March, Shen Yawu led a group of army officers to Kairong Group. At the end of March, Shen Yawu led a group of army officers to Kairong Group. The new equipment on display amazed them. 2 giant caliber firearms they'd never seen before, equipped with drum magazines, optical sights, and tripods. These are our own designs. Sniper-type grenade launchers. Dragon Fang comes in light and heavy versions. It fires 35mm grenades, with laser range-finding, night vision, and suppressors. No muzzle flash. I explained. No one could really tell. What makes this different from a large-caliber sniper rifle? I asked Major Kongyu to fire a test shot. 1 kilometer away, there sat a Type 85 tank with spaced armor. When everyone realized I was planning to shoot the tank with a sniper rifle, they all thought I was crazy. Kongyu pulled the trigger. A flash erupted, and through the smoke, the tank turret actually flew off. Everyone looked at me in shock, faces full of awe. I smiled and said goodbye. Is there more? I pointed at a nearby building they'd kept standing, simulating a scenario with armed enemies inside. Major Kong fired again. Another grenade thundered out, kicking up clouds of dust. The whole building collapsed instantly. The army officers all stood up in amazement at the power. Kongyu couldn't believe it either. Dragon Fang's effective range is 1,400 meters, loaded with the new high-energy Dragon Scale grenades. Blast velocity is 12,000 meters per second. Energy density is 3 times that of TNT. Even behind cover, the shockwave is still lethal. With Dragon Fang, cover becomes meaningless. Everyone was moved. Urban combat has always been tough. Now, with Dragon Fang, hiding behind cover and shooting back is a joke. This is awesome. Shen Youwu burst out laughing, then quickly asked for the sales price. What's the selling price? I quoted an 8, because we use carbon fiber and engineering plastics. The price is 18,000 yuan higher. It's even cheaper than a regular sniper rifle. Shen Youwu was pleasantly surprised. I said it was 8,000. Actually, the cost is only 4,000. I used AI on the production line. The costs were reduced to the minimum. Making double the profit is already good enough for me. The officers were stunned. This price is basically a steal. Shen Yawu thought I was losing money just for reputation. Xiaolu, the country can't let you take a loss. Give us a fair price. Kong quietly reminded me. Bro, you're asking way too little. Everyone will start doubting the quality. I nervously raised one finger. How about 10,000 then? Shen Youwu and the others were speechless. They argued with me for a long time. In the end, they forced me to accept a unit price of 30,000. I was forced to make an extra 26,000. The Western Theater Command placed the first order for 10,000 units on the spot. 300 million yuan was paid on the same day. Mid-March, freight trains from Dacia to Yugoslavia in Eastern Europe arrived in Belgrade. CI agents John and George secretly targeted the shipment. At night, they sneaked into the warehouse. They opened shipping container gas tanks. Importing gas tanks from so far away? Is Milosevic crazy? George mocked. Another shipment was white crystals in woven bags. George tasted a bit of it. He sneered and said it's fertilizer. Yugoslavia wants to farm after the war. Not thinking straight. Ammonium nitrate doesn't really have much of a smell. They had no idea you could make artillery from that. I even thoughtfully included some steel pipes. They don't realize. Yugoslavian agents are secretly watching them too. Milosevic received the shipment and my encrypted letter. I analyzed the situation. This was an uneven war. NATO was definitely going to launch airstrikes. Yugoslavia couldn't win an air defense battle. All they could do was preserve their strength and shift the focus elsewhere. At the end of March, NATO declared war and started intensive airstrikes. Stealth fighters and radar launched overwhelming attacks on Yugoslavia. But on my earlier advice, Yugoslavia relocated all high-value targets. Everything that got bombed were decoy models made of wood and airbags. When the airstrikes became less frequent, Yugoslavia figured out the pattern. As soon as the NATO planes left, trucks would roll out underground artillery disguised as gas tanks, shelling Kosovo forces in a wild barrage. then immediately retreating. The Kosovo forces were shell-shocked. In just a few days, Yugoslavia launched more than 200 attacks. NATO increased airstrike frequency, bombed everything that could be bombed. And yet Yugoslavia fired over 1,000 more shells. They literally lowered part of the border by several centimeters. NATO couldn't figure it out. Where did Yugoslavia get so many resources? Underground Presidential Office. Milosevic's confidential secretary reported the latest battle updates. Because they had moved into underground air defense facilities early, the casualties from NATO airstrikes were far less than the 300,000 I remembered from my previous life. And our gas tank cannons achieved tremendous results. All 10,000 gas tanks were used up before the second round of airstrikes. The whole strategy was quantity over quality. This thing was ridiculously cheap. Each cylinder cost $25. Fill it with fertilizer explosives. And the total cost was under $100. Launching 10,000 units cost less than $1 million, but flattened the Kosovo border posts, causing thousands of casualties. The Kosovo National Armed Forces were stuck in a dilemma. If they stayed to defend, they got bombed. If they left, Yugoslavian troops would just move in. They could only pin their hopes on their NATO backers, as Yugoslav forces cleared the border. But in reality, after firing the shells, they quickly evacuated through underground tunnels. Have you reached Mr. Liu in Dacia? Milosevic was completely impressed by me. Events played out exactly like I predicted. Suddenly, he saw a glimmer of hope in the confusion. We reached him. His confidential secretary nodded. I was just about to get off work when I got an encrypted call from Milosevic. It took me by surprise, since the West had blocked all communications. Mr. Liu is very grateful for your support. Now I have some requests. Milosevic immediately ordered another 1,000,000 gas tanks and 1,000,000 tons of ammonium nitrate fertilizer. $325 million was wired to my company account right away. After business was done, he asked how they could win the war. I told him Yugoslavia had no strategic depth. Winning would be very difficult. The only option now was to stall for time. If they could drag it out until Dacia's military parade in May, Western countries would hear Dacia's message. My words were a real morale booster for him. Shen Youwu has been overjoyed these past few days. I sent 400 Longa sniper grenade launchers to the military district. Now I'm the Western Theater Command star. Who would dare touch me? The military would take them out themselves. Meanwhile, the Central Military Commission issued plans for joint drills in 5 theater commands. The Western Theater Command has the G20 at the top and the Longa at the bottom. Shen Youwu is extremely proud. He invited me to observe the drills with him. This exercise was held on a huge scale. For the first time, the Central Military Commission invited foreign observers, including Americans and Russians. That whole open invitation idea was my suggestion. If you don't show up, we'll publicize it, talk about all the friendly exchanges, and stir up things with their Japanese and Korean allies. If you don't come, we'll criticize developed countries for acting superior, and stir up things with third world nations. Basically, it's a win-win strategy. At the same time, it attracted the international socialist community, taking some pressure off Yugoslavia. In the end, most NATO countries attended, but Japan and South Korea didn't. May 1st, a 100,000-strong drill launched on the North China Plain. I noticed the foreign observer's highest rank was only major. Shen Youwu was a little worried. Brother, you're too popular right now. I laughed and said, if the rank's too high, they'll see too much about our strengths. Lower rank is better. Just show their faces in the news, not their ranks. Who knows who they really are? I want them to be suspicious of each other. I want the US and its allies to distrust each other. Shen Youwu suddenly understood. He immediately went to arrange the publicity. The theater commanders got together and decided there would be no script this year. It would test their ability to coordinate forces. No guidance from the director. The 4 of us will go against old Shen alone. Wang Dijia, commander of the Central Theater Command, announced. Qian Xilan and the others were stunned. Shen Youwu was shocked when he heard about it. 1 against 4? The chief chuckled and said, you already have new equipment, so you might as well get some real tests. If this gear can't beat other countries' equivalents, there's no point in spending so much on it. Shen Yaowu got it. It's an assessment. If he won, the Western Theater Command would skyrocket. If he lost, the military budget would be cut, so he had no choice but to win. At the review stand, NATO officers thought Daxia was just bluffing. The exercise began. The Western Theater was the only blue side. The other 4 major theaters were all red side. 75,000 versus 25,000. Red side. Several newly delivered G-11 prototypes from the North Base took off first. They prepared to strike the blue side's ground forces. Haha, watch us beat the Western Theater until they crap themselves. Red side pilot Luo Juan laughed over the radio. Aren't we going to beat the Western Theater until they crap themselves? Red side pilot Luo Juan laughed over the radio. Suddenly, an announcement for Haiyan 1 came through the headset. You have been eliminated. Haiyan 3 was eliminated right afterward. Golden Eagle 1 was eliminated in less than 3 minutes. The entire red side flight formation was wiped out. In the Red Army Command Center, a few commanders angrily threw their pens, crying foul. No one knew who was shooting. As soon as they finished speaking, the exercise director announced that the Red Command Center had been destroyed. All personnel eliminated. The exercise ended. All 4 commanders were in shock. That's it? Did the Western Theater cheat or something? That's it. The foreign observation group was completely baffled. They didn't see anything, and the exercise was already over. Major Oscar raised his binoculars with a built-in digital camera and managed to catch a small black dot on the horizon. Back at the hotel, he exported the blurry photos. This aircraft looked different from any Daxia plane. Daxia might have developed an advanced fighter jet. The 2 dared not hide it and reported it immediately. At the Pentagon, in the Joint Chiefs Conference Room, the 4 theater commanders looked grim. They were extremely frustrated. Old Shen, why don't you tell everyone how you won? Chief No, Zero said with a smile. Long Guan nominated me, but it's better to let Chief Engineer Liu explain. I was brought into the meeting room, facing a stern group of generals. I placed a disc on the table. This is the Longying holographic display device we developed. A holographic model of the G20 appeared. Everyone was in shock. I took the opportunity to do some advertising. After all, I just invested all my money into the system. I urgently needed orders. The entire G20 is stealth, equipped with active phased array radar. It can detect enemy aircraft at a range of 1,000 kilometers. After introducing the standard version, I then presented the upcoming model. The next model uses a variable cycle engine.
Top speed Mach 6.
The new model uses a variable cycle engine.
Top speed Mach 6. Takeoff weight is 56 tons.
Radar detection radius reaches 2,000 kilometers. Qian Shiling gasped. The G11 instantly became nothing compared to the G20. There really was no shame in losing. The generals were sincerely convinced. During the drill, the G20 took off even faster and entered the air first. After locking onto the G11 with radar, it launched a missile attack. The Red Side Command Center was also within radar range and was also destroyed. I explained. Shen Youwu added further. This time we only deployed the standard version. The crowd fell silent. This is blatant cheating. Full map awareness and beyond visual range strikes. Chief No, Zero made a chopping gesture. The goal had been achieved. He told me to continue with the new era air combat concept. Dogfighting at high altitude. Massed troop charges are outdated. If the enemy uses missiles to carpet bomb, can you really use your body to stop them? My words carried serious weight. That's why we proposed ultra-long-range strikes. This is our second product. The Kongjing 6000. I pressed the remote control. An airborne early warning aircraft with a massive disc appeared. As a holographic image, the upgraded Kongjing 6000, with a takeoff weight of 350 tons. Radar detection range of more than 3,000 kilometers. But it's still in the design phase for now. Production is expected in 5 years. Everyone couldn't help but laugh. You're here looking for investment, aren't you, kid? Talk about what's available now first. Can the G20 be licensed for production? Lin Hao asked. The basic model can. Only we can build the advanced version well. The government will purchase the entire set of technologies. Other airfields will subcontract manufacturing to you. For every plane produced, the government will subsidize you 10 million. Other airports are doing contract manufacturing for you. With each aircraft produced, the state subsidizes you 10 million. Leader Zero approves. This means the state directly provides a 3 billion subsidy. Air Force Commander Ma Qinyun asked about the limits of the Kongjing 6000. If funding is sufficient, we can replicate the R-25 Dreamliner transport and design based on it. Combat capability will double. I laid out bait. The R-25 is an industrial miracle with a maximum payload of 200 tons. If we base it on this, the Kongjing 6000's detection accuracy and anti-jamming capabilities will be absolutely terrifying. How much will it cost and how long will it take? Ma Qinyun asked excitedly. 5 billion delivered within a year. I'm fully confident. System upgrade blueprints require only 1 billion. This is a guaranteed profit. All right, the Central Military Commission approves 5 billion funding. Leader Zero approves. After I left, Navy Commander Yang Hongtao looked a bit concerned. What if he doesn't deliver next year? Long Bowen smiled mysteriously. Old Yang Shaolu showed me a blueprint for a mid-size carrier-based aircraft before. Its firepower isn't inferior to the G-20.
He definitely has carrier tech.
Just waiting for the Navy to reach out. Everyone was shocked. Lin Hao suggested giving Chilang Group an honorary Air Force-friendly partner plaque. He joked with Yang Hongtao, saying, Old Yang, you should visit Jincheng sometime. There might just be a pleasant surprise. The day after the exercise ended, a piece of news quietly began spreading worldwide. China and the US meet again after 20 years. Senior American officers appear at Daxia's military drills. Further deep collaboration possible. The news briefing, in multiple languages, spread across social media worldwide. But the first to react wasn't the US, but Japan and Korea. They immediately slammed the media, dismissed the news as disinformation, labeled the news as false. Then came a blurry, almost pixelated airplane photo, circulating online. With speculation, it revealed Daxia's latest generation fighter jet. The rumors sparked massive debate among Chinese and international netizens. Don't be ridiculous. How could Daxia possibly develop a new generation fighter? Still way behind the US. Japanese netizens immediately started trolling. If you want to talk world class, that's still white nation's stellar achievements. Very few people believe Daxia can develop new fighters. They're the minority. Most netizens in Daxia are highly educated or overseas students. For them to battle foreign trolls online is a bit like an egg hitting a rock. Damn it, I'm so pissed off. Shen Xingju slammed her keyboard. Out of sheer rage. Xiaozhu, what got you so mad? A capable, short-haired woman walked in. She's Shen Xingju's childhood best friend. CCTV war correspondent Jiu Yingzi. She just got back from an alliance rotation. Sister Jiu, you're back. Maybe you shouldn't go. It's super dangerous with all the fighting, Shen Xingju said worriedly. Can't be helped. If none of us take on these risky jobs, people at home would be just like 100 years ago. Close their eyes and know nothing at all. Jiu Yingzi smiled wryly. Though she comes from wealth, she chose to be a war correspondent, all because of her strong sense of mission. What got you so fired up just now? Online. Someone said our country might be developing a new aircraft. I said it's true, but the foreigners don't believe it. Even cursed me Jiu Yingzi scrolled through some posts. Her keen senses picked up something odd. Something's off, this doesn't look made up. Someone's deliberately steering public opinion. Meanwhile, at the USV Pentagon, Oscar and Jack sent that pixelated photo back to HQ. And the Pentagon was completely jolted. At 5 a.m., countless generals were summoned for a meeting. After returning to HQ, the Pentagon was in utter shock. 5 a.m., countless generals called to a meeting. When they saw the photo, the once arrogant U.S. officers fell silent. Gentlemen, the Tech Department has confirmed the photo is real. Secretary of Defense Dustin Wick stated seriously. This is Daxia challenging us Americans. Has Beijing offered any explanation? Did we really only get this one photo? Are any of our allies having issues? Navy Chief of Staff Leif Osborne looked grave. The CIA is already investigating. Jack and Oscar have been detained. The situation is getting complicated. They're wary of the unknown new jet. and worried their allies have been betrayed. Why not test the waters at the first island chain? If we enter Daxia's territorial waters, they'll definitely intercept. Then we'll know if the new jet is real. Osborne recommended. We could intervene on the Taiwan Strait or South China Sea pretext. Air Force Commander Norman Clinton agreed. We need time to let this situation ferment. Let's temporarily slow down the Eastern Europe front. Secretary of State Powell decided. Without knowing Daxia's trump card, the U.S. dares not continue action against South Union. Heya keeps defending.
Inside Shillong Technology Park.
Rows of LCD monitors, with a huge group of people typing away furiously. These are the debate pros I recruited solo. Daxia's first batch of online commentators. They're using real-time translation tools to confront foreign netizens head-on, pretending to be patriots. Lee Jong and foreign agents are stirring things up online. Everyone, pause a moment. I walk into the office. Thank you all for your hard work. This month's bonuses are doubled. Everyone cheered. But acting manager Zhang Zifeng quietly asked, Boss, is our country planning some major move? Zhang Zifeng quietly asked, Boss, is our country about to pull off something big? My eyes lit up. How did you sense that? I saw military vehicles in the park. Are we about to go to war? It dawned on me. We can't keep the online commentators unit and classified work together. Good instincts. I patted him on the shoulder. You'll act as interim director. I'm planning to expand operations, setting up a media company. You'll be in charge of the online commentators division. Next day, I registered Longstar Media Company downtown. After Zhang Yikai found out, he earnestly tried to persuade me, Shalu. Why suddenly go into media? Better focus more on the new project. He's afraid I'll go astray now that I have money. He doesn't know that after I got the Mayu 20 charity funds, I've already unlocked the 5 nanometers photolithography and 5G tech. The old man's PR work was spot on. Winning without fighting. I smiled mysteriously. Zhang Yikai didn't believe it. The next day, he sent his granddaughter Zhang Jiai, along with Shen Xingju and Jiu Yingzi, to inspect. Heard you're starting a media company, and claim you can win without fighting. Can you explain that? Jiu Yingzi gets straight to the point. Let me ask you, you've seen Journey to the West, right? Do you think the purpose of the pilgrimage is more important, or are the experiences along the way more important? Do you mean energy is more important? The scriptures themselves aren't important. The journey doesn't matter either. It's authority that matters most. A sudden thought flashes through Jiu Yingzi's mind. He gets it. It's about discourse power. It's the right to speak in international public opinion. It comes from overall national strength and media influence. People in our country like doing, not talking. But internationally, if you don't speak up, it's as if you haven't done anything. Official media wants to save face. But as a grassroots organization, I don't need to. I chuckled. Let's use our 5,000 years of culture to crush them. That's like using a cannon to kill a mosquito. The cultural high ground. If you don't occupy it, the enemy will. Jiu Yingzi finally understands. He immediately resigns from his job as a reporter at the national station and comes to see me the very next day to apply for a job. So, what's your plan? I test him. Jiu Yingzi is clear and organized. Your goal is to redirect conflicts in Eastern Europe and show off Daxia's strength while driving a wedge between the US and its allies. If it were me, I would solidify the development of new jets at home first, then step up international cultural outreach. I'd spark black-white political conflicts in America and ethnic tensions across Europe, and reignite historical hatred in Japan and South Korea. The goal is to keep them in constant turmoil. Welcome aboard. You're now the coup of Longsing Media. I am sincerely impressed. I hand over a detailed plan I'd spent months preparing to him. It covers how to create narratives and run campaigns, even film production plans. The future is a digital era, and the demand for a spiritual sustenance will reach unprecedented heights. Foreign forces will use slogans like women's rights, environmental protection, and freedom to mislead our youth. If we don't safeguard this position, no amount of new technology will matter. Your job is to build a spiritual Great Wall in the hearts of Daxia's people. I speak sincerely. Jiu Yingzi is amazed and solemnly accepts his mission. Meanwhile, in Belgrade, After over 40 days of continuous bombing, there's a brief pause. The second batch of gas pipes and fertilizer from Daxia arrives in Yugoslavia.
It's May.
Milosevic looks eastward. Mr. Liu, I hope Daxia can lead us to the light. The fourth day of May Day holiday, America gathers the Reagan and the Little Bird, two carrier strike groups, and heads in force towards Daxia's southern seas. Trying to probe Daxia, 3 F-18 Hornets take off from the Reagan and intrude into Daxia's airspace. This is Cobra 1. Do you copy, Joel? Squad leader Victor calls his wingman. Do you really think the Daxia people have a new type of aircraft? I think it's possible. The Daxia people aren't as fragile as you think. Do you trust their planes? I guess it's possible. The Daxia people aren't as fragile as you think. Joel is nervous. Most likely just disinformation. Another wingman, Joshua, scoffs. Joshua, stay close. Victor glances at his rearview mirror. I'm right behind you. Soon all three realize something's off. Only 3 planes show on radar, but a fourth appears in the sky, yet the radar shows nothing. What is that? Is it a UFO? The 3 of them break into a cold sweat. No one noticed when it appeared. Not a single sound. Open fire control. Be ready to fire at any moment. Victor gives the order. He then calls the cruiser Whale. Whale 1, I've spotted an unidentified aircraft. Request assistance with identification. This is Whale 1. No unidentified aircraft detected on radar. How is that possible? I'm at most 200 meters away. Victor is completely panicked now. Warship radar is much more powerful than a jet's. If even the warship can't spot it, could it be a ghost? This chilly black plane, with its massive wingspan, looks like an archangel descending from the sky. He has never seen anything like it in aviation history. Guys, we're in serious trouble. Victor's voice is tense. The opponent's origin is unknown. We've been locked on. Every man for himself. Good luck. With that, Victor slams his control stick and dives straight toward Daxia's airspace. Less than 500 meters from Daxia airspace. In his headset, a bilingual warning suddenly blares out without warning. This is Daxia Air Force. You are approaching our airspace. Leave immediately. They actually ignored the encrypted radio channel. Daxia Air Force. Is this monster really Daxia's new plane? Victor can't believe it. He pushes the throttle all the way up, instantly breaks the sound barrier, creating a sonic boom. But the plane behind him is even faster, visibly closing the distance. Beep, 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 beep. Fire control radar lock. Alarms blare. Years of flying experience are warning him. If he dares enter Daxia's airspace, he'll be dead within a minute. As long as you dare to enter the Daxia airspace, you'll be dead within 1 minute. Victor instinctively tilted the control stick, skimming the edge of Daxia's border before turning back. What made him even more desperate was, the Daxia plane shot straight up like a rocket, executing a flawless Chinese-style maneuver, relentlessly kept him locked on. No matter how he tried to maneuver, the other plane stuck to him like a ghost, never too close or too far. Their speed was higher. Their maneuverability was stronger. Who knows how many missiles are in those bays? He simply couldn't shake them off. All he could do was run. His wingmen Joel and Joshua were in just as bad a situation. They originally wanted to keep probing, but suddenly 2 more Daxia planes of the same type pulled up alongside them, left and right, and forcefully cut in on their com channel to issue a warning. Both men turned back immediately. They realized Daxia didn't just have new planes now. They were already fully deployed. Are these really going to be our opponents in the Asia-Pacific going forward? Both of them broke out in a cold sweat, escorted by 3 Daxia jets. Cobra Squad fled 2 nautical miles. Then the Daxia jets vanished like ghosts. From start to finish, their radar gave no response at all. They tried to get a lock on the escorting planes, but the fire control system simply couldn't recognize them, which meant they couldn't even fire. It was like fighting aliens. After landing on the USS Reagan, the 3 of them were so weak they couldn't get up. Completely drenched in sweat, faces pale as a sheet. That crushing mental pressure of not knowing when death would strike almost broke them. What did you encounter out there? Squadron leader Barrett frowned and asked. Reporting, sir. We spotted 3 Daxia aircraft we've never seen before. They ignored the encrypted radio and spoke to us directly. Our radar couldn't pick them up at all. Couldn't get a lock. Couldn't shake them off. Couldn't fire. Victor shouted. How do you know they were Daxia planes? Because they spoke Chinese. Barrett immediately reported to the commander, Major General Peter Visari. Peter's first reaction was disbelief. As he was waiting for the black box data, his aide rushed him over to the screen in a panic. As he was waiting for the black box data, his aide rushed him over to the screen in a panic. The carrier system received a photo, a full panoramic overhead shot of the carrier group, at an altitude of less than 1 kilometer, which meant they were right in the middle of the US Navy's most advanced radar defense, like ghosts undetected, and even had the luxury to snap a picture and send it to the flagship. What if they'd sent a missile instead of a photo? What if it had been a missile? Peter's scalp tingled. He grabbed the radio and shouted for full alert. All forces turn around. Full speed to Yokosuka base. He didn't dare bet his life on this. What exactly is Daxia up to? Daxia's South Sea Fleet Yulin base. 3 G-20 jets came in for a smooth landing. Wang Wei walked off the plane, beaming. He saluted and shouted, "Reporting, Commander. My air squadron successfully intercepted and drove away the US jets. All 3 returned safely. Thank you for your hard work." Base Chief Major General Yu Nanshu saluted back. How does the new plane perform? Reporting, Commander. I've never flown such an amazing jet. Wang Wei's face was glowing with excitement. This is our own country's plane, Yu Nanshu said with emotion. Good thing we had the G-20 this time. As soon as the US jets were 200 kilometers out, our detection system picked them up. Wang Wei and the rest resisted the temptation to open fire and successfully drove off the US aircraft. Meanwhile, I was sitting in the cockpit of my Gundam in the hangar. Yeah, are you ready? I asked with a smile, looking at my daughter in the co-pilot seat. Yes, Yaya nodded enthusiastically, wearing her radiation suit. She nodded vigorously. I entered the command codes. The Mecha's eyes lit up. The green light split open the hangar ceiling. Let's go. I floored the accelerator and pushed the control stick. The Mecha's back emitted a ring-shaped trail, rocketed up from the ground, shooting straight into the clouds. Magnificently launched upward, straight into the sky, climbed up to 10,000 meters. The Mecha hovered, wings flapping. Its blue and white color gleamed amazingly in the moonlight. Daddy, it's beautiful. Yaya looked at the city, lights shining below on Jingcheng's nightscape. Her eyes sparkling brightly. Want to see something even more beautiful? Let's keep climbing. A sonic boom ripped through the air. The Mecha instantly broke through the sound barrier at high speed. The mild shaking vanished. We broke through the atmosphere and arrived in outer space. It was eerily quiet all around. Yaya gazed at the blue earth and the dazzling Milky Way, absolutely stunned. This is outer space. We've really made it out here. I spoke as I gathered data. We're running out of power. Time to head back. Dad, when can we come again? Yaya asked reluctantly. Once I develop a more powerful miniature energy unit. At most 2 years. Yaya gave Dad all her pocket money. Can you make it sooner? I patted her little head. Dad will be as fast as he can. The Mecha dove back toward Earth's atmosphere. Wings spread wide, landing back in the hangar smoothly. Test successful. It's time for the next step. I smiled slightly. The next day, a new smartphone called the Patia launched. In all 5 districts of Jingcheng, more than 40 offline experience stores opened simultaneously. Shiny, spotless stores. Smartwatches you could actually try out. Notebooks, game consoles, balance scooters. This unique marketing approach attracted countless curious looks. Of course, at first the main attraction were the salesgirls in business attire and black stockings. But on opening day, revenue was dismal. First, the concept was too new. Second, the price was bold. In an era where the average wage is just 2,000, the pity one with 512 megabytes RAM was priced at 3,099 RMB. But I knew this phone was truly best in class. The design was based on the iPhone. The system was optimized from iOS, equipped with a self-developed Lizu 1 processor and Longwang 1 GPU, able to compute 30 trillion times per second, and a battery that lasts 48 hours. Guanji series GPU, able to compute 30 trillion times per second. Battery lasts 48 hours. That night, an ad with a panoramic shot of the Northwest Mountains, no dialogue at all, was broadcast on Jingcheng TV. At the end, it only said one sentence. This entire film was shot in HD with the PITY-1 phone. Overseas designer Liu Cixi was in awe. She had studied photography, and she knew there's not a device out there that can reach this level of clarity. The next morning, she rushed into the Pattaya Experience store. "How much is your phone?" The salesgirl smiled and explained. "Entertainment recommended, 512 megabytes PD1. Professional photography, recommending the PD1 PL equipped with soft light triple cameras." Liu Cixi bit the bullet and bought one. A 512 gigabytes 1PL full-screen model. Smooth operation with no physical buttons. It felt as if a door to a new world had opened for him. "What other products do you have?" His eyes were burning with interest. The guide led him deeper into the experience store. Flat-screen TVs were hanging on the walls. There were also game consoles, smart ACs, and computers. "Are you a domestic brand?" Liu Cixi was shocked when he saw the Pattaya logo. After a half-hour introduction, Liu Cixi was completely sold. He spent over 200,000, buying a smart central AC, TV, game console, and computer, a robotic vacuum, and even paid extra for a customized whole-house smart system. Installation was completed that afternoon. When he called out, "Jamo," Jamo turned on the TV. When the TV started up automatically, he felt the satisfaction of science fiction stepping into reality. His parents came home intending to scold him, but seeing the voice-controlled curtains and robotic vacuum, they were hit by the shock of a new era. Liu Cixi used the new computer and a digital tablet to draw. The ridiculous response and rendering speeds made him shout, "Holy shit!" Awesome! Just as PTI was gradually occupying the market, the Research Institute of Avik Group was filled with gloom. "Chief, the CPU of the 7-star No.1 navigation satellite is not precise enough. It's prone to processing delays and inaccurate positioning," Xiao Yingkai, director of the technical department, reported to Air Force Commander Zhang Kongshen. "How long until it's resolved?" "It's uncertain," a researcher proposed purchasing equipment from ASML in the Netherlands. Xiao Yingkai sternly refused. They said the people of Great Xia don't deserve it, and foreign equipment might have back doors. "We must be on guard." Zhang Kongshen made the final decision. "Even if there are errors, we must launch on time. Having our own is better than borrowing from others." This was also the path to independent control forced by the US turning off GPS twice. Just then, a young researcher rushed in. "Teacher, look at this processor. Will it work?" He handed over a thumb-sized black square. "Nonsense. Where did this processor come from?" "And you want to put it on a satellite?" Xiao Yingkai scolded. "Teacher, this is 100% domestic. Maybe it's better than ours." Zhang Kongshen spoke up. "Since we can't solve it for now, we might as well try." The processor was installed into the simulation system. After startup, everyone was stunned. The response speed was incredibly fast, with no delays, misjudgments, or inaccurate positioning. This single processor, hardly larger than a fingernail, actually far outperformed the array processing units they developed. The professional pride of many semiconductor experts was shattered. "Where did this thing come from?" Xiao Yingkai asked urgently. "I took it out of a game console I just bought." The student answered truthfully. Dead silence. To think the satellite they spent so much heart and soul on couldn't even compare to a game console. He wasn't the only one whose faith was shattered. Xiao Yingkai forced himself to stay focused and asked further. "Where did you buy this console? Which company produced it? Who made the CPU?" "I bought it yesterday from a Pattaya offline store. I tried the bundled game last night. The graphics were exquisite and smooth. I realized its processor must be very powerful." The student spoke the truth. Upon hearing Pattaya, many people's hearts sank halfway. The old man's heart sank, thinking it was foreign goods again. The student quickly added, "Teacher, this is a fully independent, self-developed new tech company. Pattaya means dragon fruit. The name Jiangming was for future exports. Something this good and they actually plan to export it? What a reckless waste." Xiao Yingkai cursed, but felt relieved in his heart. As long as it's a domestic company, they could commission them to manufacture chips. "Where is that Pattaya headquarters?" Can we contact them? Jiang Kongshen's brow relaxed. The guide said the parent company is Qilong Technology. Right here in Jincheng. Qilong Technology? Jiang Kongshen was shocked. In the military exercise half a month ago, this company became a sensation. Chairman Lu Shaoqiu even gave a speech on stage.
He decided on the spot. I'll contact Qilong Technology first.
When the time comes, I'll trouble you two to come with me to see their chairman. At this time, I sat at my desk, breathing a long sigh of relief. The first step has finally been taken firmly. Originally, I wanted to take things slow, but then I had second thoughts. The home button is indeed useless. Might as well go straight for the full screen. But hardware alone isn't enough. You can't have people playing Snake on a full screen. Supporting software had to keep up. Early in the preparation stage, I acquired Foreign Radical Entertainment and Domestic Double Swords, Season and other studios. After receiving the latest engine I developed, next-gen games are now safeguarding the launch of BBOX. I also set up multiple teams to develop various apps, and even prepared logistics warehouses. With all this, my opening shot was a success, and Jincheng is already full of Pattaya fans. Just as I was preparing to expand nationwide, a summons was handed to me. I was sued. The reason was actually monopoly. Just as I was getting ready to go national, a summons landed on my desk. I've been sued, and the reason is actually monopoly. The Yushi came in excitedly to report the financials. In just half a year, I've doubled the steel mill's profits, raking in cash every day. Yesterday alone, sales topped 10 million. After just a few days, I've already made billions. What's with that look? The Yushi walked in and saw my strange expression. It's nothing. We've been sued. I handed him the summons. The plaintiff is Kais Guang, the largest foreign semiconductor distributor in China. They have no R&D capability. They rose to power by representing foreign tech. Now I've suddenly introduced 5-nanometer chips. Performance and price are way ahead. They're panicking, trying to push me off the table. Meanwhile, Guang's Jincheng director, Lan Zixao, is leisurely sipping coffee. Boss Lan, isn't what we're doing a bit shady? Secretary Zhao Li murmured. You don't know anything. If they keep doing this, the semiconductor industry will collapse sooner or later. Lan Zixao replied irritably.
He visited the Fire Dragon Fruit Experience store 2 days ago.
In that instant, he sensed trouble brewing. Even in America, he's never seen graphics rendered so realistically. What really got him was, it's only selling for just over 3,000. If their agency sold it, just the cost price would be several thousand. Lan Zixao is a cancer to the industry.
He's never thought of himself as a Daxia citizen.
No qualms about exploiting his own people.
To him,
Selling better and cheaper than American products is disturbing the market. The summons has been sent, right? Has the other side responded? No, but they said they'll attend court on time. Lan Zixao laughed. These days, there are tons of legal loopholes. Sue for monopoly. All you need is proof the opponent is selling way below market price. And who sets the market price? Americans. How can people be so shameless? And they're accusing us of monopoly. The Yushi couldn't help but laugh angrily. As CFO, he knows best that we have a fully self-owned supply chain. Each phone nets more than 2,000 in profit. This is called monopoly. Independently developed, each phone nets over 2,000 profit. This is called monopoly. This is called windfall profit. Let's go to court then. Otherwise, the legal team would be bored. I chuckled, then asked, how much money do we have in the account now? All military payments are in. The Air Force's 10 billion R&D fund is also in place. What are you planning now? The Yushi looked helpless. The money comes in fast, but it goes out even faster. I can't keep any of it. It's nothing, just buying some equipment, developing new stuff. I reckon the Navy's getting impatient. Aircraft carrier projects need to be put on the agenda. You can't keep spending money like this. You still have to provide for Yaya, the Yushi advised. With the speed I make money, if I didn't invest in research, I could live more lavishly than a king. But I'm just a weirdo. Drive my old Jeep every day. Wear work clothes to and from the office. As long as Yaya can go to school and have food to eat, and grow up healthy, that's enough. Money, after all. You can't take it when you die. No amount of money is more important than peace. I looked at him and said earnestly, Wealth for me means nothing compared to national prosperity. If everyone can rise together, that's better than anything. The Yushi was shocked, like he'd just met me for the first time. This mindset is all about clarity. At that moment, Lin Qingshuan walked in. Xiaoqiu, there's someone for you at the factory gate. They say they're from Avik Group. After Lin Qingshuan was transferred to national security training, he became my secretary, taking care of and protecting Yaya. This made the Yushi jealous. Breast nodules. But there's nothing to do. Lin Qingshuan is indeed a better worker. Alright, is old Master Zheng here? I glanced at the schedule, cancelled the afternoon meeting, told Longxing Media to adjust their timings. Overtime gets triple pay. Lu Shaoqiu quickly wrapped up his work and met Jiang Kongshen and others in the reception room. Hello. I'm Air Force and Aerospace Commander Jiang Kongshen. These two are chief engineers of the 7-Star Project. Engineer Xiao and Engineer Zhou. What instructions do you have? I was puzzled. I was expecting the Navy Aerospace team. So why are you here first? We've arrived, Mr. Liu. Is the PTI core processor self-developed or procured? Xiao Yingkai asked. Of course it's self-developed. A fully autonomous, independent production line, with patent rights in our hands.
Any issues?
All three widened their eyes, in disbelief. If you don't believe me, I'll take you to tour the factory. They're all registered with the military. Can seamlessly shift from civilian to military production. Xiao Yingkai handed over their project plan. Our 7-Star project is at a crucial stage. But the precision of our self-made processors isn't enough. It can't run. I signed an NDA, looked through the project plan. My expression grew stranger. Is there any problem? Xiao Yingkai asked nervously. Not really a problem. I smiled. Just the satellite's core processing unit design is off. The architecture is too complex. Processing efficiency is extremely low. We don't even produce that kind of design anymore. I added, with the current design, delay and error are inevitable. You're using planar architecture. Ours is already nano-level 3D stacking. 100-layer stacks are the baseline. The two engineers looked at each other, faces pale. Great eye, Engineer Liu. Tech has hit a bottleneck and can't match GPS-level precision. Can you help us solve this? Jiang Kongshen switched to a respectful tone, but I shook my head. Engineer Liu, you can request any funding, no matter the amount. Jiang Kongshen got anxious. It's not about the money. Your satellite's entire architecture is outdated. My chips are indeed fast, but your other units aren't compatible. It's like putting a race car engine on a tricycle. Whether it crashes depends entirely on fate. After my explanation, they finally understood. Xiao Yingkai and his partner have spent decades studying satellites, but got surpassed by a guy in his 20s. It was a bit embarrassing. Young people copying me so easily. It's a bit humiliating. Don't take it to heart, you two. You just lost to the times. You've never dealt with nano-level chip stacking technology. I reassured them. Then can Engineer Liu help optimize the solution? It's crucial for Daxia, Jiang Kongshen pleaded.
It's possible.
But I've recently gotten into some lawsuits. I looked troubled. My phones are priced cheap, stepped on someone's toes, got sued for a monopoly. It's ridiculous to get sued for selling things cheaply. Do ordinary people not deserve to enjoy technological progress? Jiang Kongshen's popularity soared. Don't worry, I'll assist you. I've already resolved the satellite modification issue for you. All right, there's one more thing. I want to work with Avik on communication satellites. We'll provide the technology. You handle the launch. What do you think? You know about this too? Jiang Kongshen was surprised. As long as the satellite is built, I'll handle the process issues. Jiang Kongshen patted his chest. I took out 3 PITY-1 units from the drawer, handed them over as a small gift. Let's stay in touch. After Jiang Kongshen returned, a single phone call uncovered all the masterminds behind the scenes. A pro-independence guy dared to provoke Daxia on its own territory. He sneered and made several more calls. The semiconductor market exploded the next day. A batch of 7 Colors Lights goods shipped to the mainland was seized by customs. Because of an anonymous tip-off about smuggling, every model must be checked one by one. Electronic components have a shelf life. Every extra day of delay means more depreciation. Dealers nationwide couldn't get any stock. They all contacted Seven Colors Light's headquarters for answers.
Damn, who's screwing with me now?
Seven Colors Light's boss, Zhang Yoying, was furious. Did you piss someone off or what? Otherwise, why are those mainlanders suddenly targeting us? Partner Yao Cheng shouted angrily. It must be that guy who wanted us to support our compatriots last time.
Why'd you mess with that mainlander?
Partner Yao Cheng shouted angrily. It must be that guy who wanted us to support our compatriots last time.
Why'd you mess with that mainlander?
Seven Colors Light's situation kept getting worse. Lan Zixao was starting to panic too. Boss Lan, Customs is checking out electronic waste. Our mottos don't match up. It's a bigger problem now, Secretary Zhao Li advised. Damn it, keep a close eye on it. Lan Zixao swore. There's a court hearing tomorrow. I'll go take a look. Anyway, I've got nothing else to do. Meanwhile, Wang Wei and his comrades looked at the new G20 leader like their dream girl,
Carefully wiping down the newly arrived G20 jet.
Wang Wei saw Uncle Yunnan walking over.
He quickly saluted.
You're completely familiar with the new plane now, right?
Absolutely.
Wang Wei grinned widely. As a frontline pilot, do you have any thoughts about carrier operations? Uncle Yunnan asked in a low voice. The first batch of carrier pilots will be selected from our base. Your skills have to be top-notch. Yes, sir. Wang Wei's face lit up with excitement. Chen Guangzong, director of the Southern Theater Logistics Department, also received a death order. No matter the cost, as long as we get the aircraft carrier, even if we have to tighten our belts, we must launch the first aircraft carrier as soon as possible. Chen Guangzong took a military plane to Jin City. Wei Zetao from the Western Theater welcomed him. Oh Wei, I was wrong back then. Once this is over, I'll host a banquet to apologize. Take me to see Lu Gong, okay? Chen Guangzong spoke very respectfully. Even though Wei Zetao resented him for stealing his wife, he didn't let personal matters affect his work.
He drove him to Chilong Industrial Park.
When they arrived at the entrance, Wei Zetao was stunned. Standing at the gate was a fully armed active-duty soldier.